This is the Bank of America Countdown to Green as we get set to go racing.
Today, the fans of NASCAR have come to the Finger Lakes region of New York State for a weekend of relaxing and racing. But it's much different for the stars of the Nextel Cup Series. They must share the stage with one of the most demanding tracks on the circuit, the winding road course at Watkins Glen. A big day at the Glen just ahead of them, and a big day at Indianapolis just behind them. What could have been a day of disappointment,
well, Jimmy Johnson got some trouble.
Turned out to be a dream come true.
Checkered flag is in the air. Jimmy Johnson from California wins at Indianapolis.
The thrill of racing at Indy.
But just knowing all the racing, all the history this track's about, to be able to win here with all that, there's nothing like it. It'd be awesome.
Replaced by the joy of winning there.
I never thought I would win at this racetrack. I've had such a drought at this racetrack, and now we got a victory.
Sometimes the biggest hurdle in racing is putting the disappointment from the past behind you and turning fear and frustration into motivation.
Our biggest strength is that we never give up. We find a way to rally back, and that's something I'm very proud of.
After all, this is racing, where it's all about the sweet taste of winning, especially at the Brickyard. Now the Nextel Cup season takes another turn on the road course at Watkins Glen, where the reigning series champion has been a Tiger.
Tony Stewart goes back-to-back and wins at the Glen.
Jeff Gordon won on the road course in Sonoma, and he knows where victory lane is here, too. Now just 5 races remain in the race to the chase, and there's a traffic jam in the point standings. A true road test awaits. So come on, enjoy the ride. It's rush hour at Watkins Glen. Good job. NBC Sports presents NASCAR. Today, it's the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, live from Watkins Glen, New York. Yesterday afternoon, here at the Glen, some of the most exciting racing of the season in the NASCAR Busch Series. Nextel Cup stars Kurt Busch in the 39 car and Robbie Gordon in the 7. With a thrilling performance of rubbing and racing in the final laps, with Busch able to hold on for the victory. Since the inception of the Busch Series in 1982, no driver has ever swept both poles and won both races in the same weekend. Kurt Busch will try to do just that this afternoon. Hi, everybody. Our NBC Race family, happy to welcome you to the Bank of America Countdown to Green. I'm Bill Weber. Yesterday's finish is just one reason why this is one of the most challenging days of the season for the drivers trying to make the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Of the top 14 drivers in the standings, 8 have 5 or fewer starts here. 5 of them have raced here 3 times or less. 7th place Denny Hamlin has never raced a Nextel Cup car at Watkins Glen. Today they face the mystery of the Glen and the Masters that have the magic to tame it.
Jeff Gordon once won 6 road course races in a row. That is a Nextel Cup Series record, but he hasn't won here at the Glen since 2001. What about it, Jeff? Is the car right today? Can you get back to victory lane here?
Well, we weren't as good as we were in Sonoma during practice yesterday, but I feel really good about the changes that Steve and all the guys in the DuPont Chevrolet made. We got a good starting position, better than we had in Sonoma. So, you know, we're going to fight hard and see what we got for these guys on the longer runs. I think that's where we might have something that we didn't see in practice yesterday. Never really made a run over 5 or 6 laps, and not many guys did. So that's where I think this race is really going to unfold.
All right, good luck today. This is the 24th time that Cup cars have raced here. Could be a good omen for the 24 today. To Alan Bestwick.
With Tony Stewart, who has won 3 of the last 4 races here at Watkins Glen. He's chatting with Kevin Harvick. Tony, how did this car compare in practice yesterday to your past winning cars here?
It's the same car, so hopefully it'll stay in its winning ways. So we got 90 laps to find out, but I'm pretty happy. It ran really good in happy hour, so really excited about it and ready to go.
All right, good luck today. Tony Stewart starts 8th. Here's Matt Yoakum.
and impressive car control by Robbie Gordon yesterday during the NASCAR Busch Series race. Is that the type of race we're going to see today out of you and everyone else, Robbie?
You know, when it comes down that last lap, and you want to do everything you can to win, but Kurt did a great job yesterday. You know, that Penske power was pretty awesome, and I was really happy with what the guys at Menards gave me, and obviously the Harris Chevrolet, but had good pit stops. If we can do the same thing in our Jim Beam Chevrolet today and put ourselves in position, you might see a finish just like that again.
And the guys you said you were probably not going to have to battle like you thought you would here today.
You know, I think today that, you know, it's going to be a good race. There's a lot of guys right there on the outside of the points. Probably my most competition in the field is just sitting there. I think they're 8th, 9th, and 10th in the points. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
And he is one of 4 guys. Go ahead and jump on your truck, Robbie. One of 4 guys to win a road course race in Nextel Cup since the year 2000. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. That's the first lap. Plenty more coming up, including Indy winner Jimmy Johnson on the Bank of America Countdown to Green from Watkins Glen.
Bank of America Countdown to Green is brought to you by Bank of America. Experience higher standards in checking only from Bank of America. By Little Debbie. Unwrap a smile with Little Debbie snacks. They're a guaranteed winner when you're on the go. And by Valvoline's Max Life, which outperforms conventional motor oils in helping extend engine life.
For the 3rd straight season, Jimmy Johnson is preparing to make his run at the championship. There are all kinds of numbers that show us his win at Indianapolis was just another important part in an outstanding season. But what history cannot record is the happiness and the relief of winning a race where the biggest reward is a single kiss.
Now, this week's Bank of America Higher Standards moment.
Checkered flag is in the air. Jimmy Johnson wins at Indianapolis.
I never thought I would win at this racetrack. I've had such a drought at this racetrack, and now we got a victory.
1, 2, 3.
I love that dirt.
We worked so hard and we never gave up throughout the practice sessions, through this morning. Then when we got in the race, we had to overcome a lot as well. And I just can't thank this team enough for never giving up. I doubted this racetrack. I've doubted my ability to get around this track. I know the team's doubted, you know, what we've been able to do here. Chad has been hard on himself. And we've been kicking ourselves for years coming to this track.
Hurry up!
You're awesome, dude.
Dude, you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just want to go sit down in the corner and let it soak in.
Done. Jimmy Johnson holding that Brickyard trophy. You have won 2 of arguably the biggest races in this series.
As time's going on, it's really sinking in. Dale Jarrett, you know, amazing race car driver, is the only one to ever win the 500 in the Brickyard in the same year.
Con Jimmy Johnson, il vincitore della 400 miglia di Indianapolis, tra l'altro abbiamo scoperto che è appena stato in Italia, è appena stato a Portofino.
Give me 5. We did it. Between the burnouts on the bricks, loving the trophy.
Riding around Watkins Glen with Jimmy Johnson. I'm just curious, did it ever really soak into you at all after Indianapolis? And I bet there's some weeks where the next race just comes a little too soon, right?
Yeah, you're so right. It definitely started soaking in as the evening rolled on after the race Sunday night. And I'm excited to race today, but also disappointed because you're only as good as your last race, and it's hard to beat what we did last weekend.
Exactly right. And Jimmy's proved to be a pretty good road course racer here in the last few races at Watkins Glenville, with 2 top 5s in his last 3 races here.
Thanks, Marty. Enjoy the ride. Here are some of the road racing specialists in the starting field. Boris Said in the Said head start 15th, just ahead of the popular Canadian Ron Fellows. He's in the 18th spot. And Scott Pruitt, subbing for David Stremme, starts 13th. Since 1986, there have been 20 Nextel Cup races at the Glen. 6 have been won from the pole. 12 of the 20 have been won by a driver starting in the first 2 rows. 5 events remain in the race to the chase, and this could be cut-down day. A tough track and a talented lineup mean the guys deep in the points have a big job to tackle. The late race pit strategy in the final crash at Indy really did a number on the standings. Johnson continues to hold the lead over Matt Kenseth. Jeff Burton finished 43rd here last year. Sixth place Mark Martin is just 137 points in front of 11th place Casey Kane. The maximum point gain possible in one race, 156. And really the positions from Martin on back to Carl Edwards are all up for grabs. Edwards has just one start here. Today Casey Kane makes just his third start at the Glen, and he's with Dave.
And last week's last lap crash knocked Casey from chase contention for the first time since Daytona in February. So Casey, can you road race your way back in today?
I hope so. You know, last week hurt. That wasn't a good thing. So we need to get a good finish today, and I've been saying this for a couple weeks and it hasn't been going on. So we'll see what happens. But I think we have a good Dodge Charger. We just need to keep the brakes on it all day and stay out of Robbie Gordon's way. He's going to be charging, I think.
Casey looking for a good finish in his 5th win of the season. Matt?
Greg Biffle, 12th in the championship standings, but he starts at the back due to a crash in practice. So does that incident change your target as far as goals this weekend?
Well, a little bit. You know, coming in here, the first practice prior to qualifying, our car was really fast, and I felt like we had an opportunity possibly to win, run in the top 3 or 4. I still think we have that opportunity, but I kind of changed my goals a little bit to the top 10. Starting at the back, I need to take my time and work my way up there, not give up anything today. So I think that's what my main thing is going to be, is get the Subway Fusion up there. And we'll have a good run today. I had a lot of fun yesterday, and I think I'm going to have a good run today.
A very productive race car at Infineon Raceway. This very race car, which is now his primary for today, finished 4th. Alan Bestwick.
With Kurt Busch sitting on the back of a golf cart, who won the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday, but talked afterwards about maybe not being able to be as aggressive today because of his position in the championship. How do you balance those out today?
Well, just talking with Roger, you know, he's just a great job yesterday, but we have the big prize today, which is just a nice solid run. You know, we're going to stick with somewhat of the same strategy, which is when to pit and how much fuel, but you know, if it comes down to the end like yesterday, I mean, you gotta keep the car straight and keep it on the asphalt and come home with a good finish. So I hope we can do that today with the Miller Lite Dodge, and that's just the big picture racing. We've been doing that the last 10 weeks, and we've had top 10s out of it. But you know, there's a nice little streak on the line here. We'll go for it, but if we're not in position, we can't stretch it.
Kurt Busch starts on the pole today. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. We'll see what happens. Mark Martin won this race 3 consecutive times, a streak that started in 1993. He won all 3 from the pole, including his last win at the Glen, August 13th, 1995. Exactly 11 years ago today. Joe Gibbs has 3 cars in the starting lineup this afternoon, and tonight he'll try and take a step toward determining his starting lineup for opening day of the 2006 NFL season. The Redskins getting ready to play at Cincinnati, and you'll see it on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels and John Madden will have the call. With more from Cincinnati, here's Andrea Kramer.
Earlier in the update, we saw Miami Dolphins.
Thanks, Andrea. We'll be watching a guy trying to quarterback his way into the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship is Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he's with Dave.
And with Junior right now, and a Redskins fan himself, by the way. Hey, last weekend, not a great race car, but great strategy at the end. Put you back in the top 10 in points. This weekend looks like you have a pretty good race car. Can you win?
My car can win. I don't know if I can. We've had some fast laps, and my guys, Tony Jr. and the entire Bud team, they give me such an awesome car. Really makes me look really good out here, but we'll just try not to make any mistakes. That's the biggest thing. Try not to try not to make no mistakes, and you know, hopefully we'll get lucky.
That's a word from Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Bank of America Countdown to Green. We're through with that. Pre-race ceremonies coming up next.
This has been the Bank of America Countdown to Green. Let's go racing.
The NASCAR Nextel Cup Series in Watkins Glen, New York, set to race on the twisting road course. The green flag coming up moments from now. First, we go trackside for the opening ceremony.
And now, race fans, with our invocation, here is the president and chaplain of Motor Racing Outreach, Billy Malden.
Almighty God and Heavenly Father, we take a moment to give you thanks for this beautiful weather and the many people who have worked so hard to make this event possible. As always, we ask for your protection of our family and friends who guard our freedoms both at home and abroad. Bless us with safety today, and may your peace fill our lives. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
And now, with our national anthem, please welcome, from the DVD release of the Sony Pictures movie RV, Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early but so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets would the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
The colors and the competition of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on the road course at Watkins Glen. The second of the 2 road course races this season. The Command is coming up next on NBC. NBC Sports presents NASCAR. Today, it's NASCAR Nextel Cup racing from Watkins Glen, New York. 5 former winners at the Glen are in the starting field today, including Kyle Petty, who drove to victory lane in a rain-shortened race here in 1992. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Dallenbach and Benny Parsons. Thanks for having us in for the race. The day Kyle went to victory lane was a wild afternoon here at the Glen. We expect to see more of that today. BP still a little bit under the weather, but you got to be a race fan yesterday. I imagine you liked what you saw.
Bill, I loved it. What a great race between Kurt Busch and Robbie Gordon yesterday. Last lap, that's what you want to see, somebody trying to win on the last lap. Watch this. Robbie Gordon through the grass on the inside and bangs into the 39 car. The 39 car goes through the grass and holds the lead and goes on to win. But exactly what you want to see, guys trying to win on the last lap. But Wally, today, Kurt Busch in victory lane yesterday and earlier today said that with that 2 car trying to make the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup, he can't quite race like that on the last lap.
Well, we'll see. I mean, some of these guys are definitely going to be points racing, but I think some of these guys are hired to do a job, like Scott Pruitt, and they're trying to keep the car in the top 35 in points. But if you get down to the end of it, and these guys can smell the front, guys like Robbie Gordon, if Robbie Gordon's up there, he's going for it. He doesn't have no points to worry about it. So hopefully Robbie Gordon will be up there because I think it's going to be a fun race. They always say they're points racing, but when it gets close, different story.
Now, when they throw the green flag here, the leaders will be at the front of the field, but the real racing will be going on about the middle of the field back.
Yeah, it really will. It's kind of weird on this race because especially when we get into strategies a little bit later on what everybody's doing, but everybody's going to settle down in the front, but you're right, Bill. The middle is going to have some great racing. There's some good guys trying to get track position, and it should be fun to watch.
It was a blast on Saturday afternoon. We expect the same this afternoon. It's a beautiful day here, temperature in the upper 70s. The sun is shining, and the fans have come from all over the Northeast and around the country to watch the stars of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series compete on a road course for the second time this season. The words you've been waiting for? Let's go trackside and get the command.
And now, race fans, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports. Once again, our Grand Marshal, AMD Executive Bill LaRosa.
On behalf of AMD around the world and all of our employees, gentlemen, start your engines!
Three drivers getting ready to roll off of pit road for the 22nd race of the season. Just ahead, your chance to make a lap. Wally's World next on NBC. Sony, the official high-definition television of NASCAR on NBC. Take your NASCAR experience to another level with Sony Full HD in 1080, the world's most powerful HD experience. Cars have come to life on pit road. In 1995, only a controversial caution kept Wally Dallenbach out of victory lane at Watkins Glen. He finished second. Ask Wally, he'll be happy to tell you about it. Actually, he'll be happy to tell you about it even if you don't ask. Wally's never really given up the appeals process, and this week in Wally's world, driven by State Farm, he takes his case all the way to the West Wing.
Welcome aboard my State Farm car today, starring in the movie RV, Kristen Chenoweth. Welcome aboard, Kristen.
Hi. Ah! Oh my God! Oh.
We haven't even left pit lane yet.
You can go straight now. Now, should there be smoke?
No, there shouldn't be smoke. Now, I assure you this will be a much smoother ride than that RV you were driving around in. So, I'm not even at a second gear yet. Wow, what octave range is that?
Oh my
Are you that a 4 or 5?
Oh my God!
I've got to get it out of second gear.
No! No, you don't!
There we go.
Oh my God!
Now listen, you've got a great resume. I mean, you're on West Wing, the Broadway play Wicked. Now, were you a good witch or a bad witch? Would that be a good witch? I always looked up to the bad witches.
Oh! 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 Oh!
Now, what about that DVD you're carrying? Did you want to say something about that?
No! Yeah!
Wow, that thing can break glass!
Oh my God! Ah! Slow down! Slow down! Where did you get your license from, Ricky Bobby? Slow down, please! Watch out for the wall!
I'll watch out for the wall.
Oh my God!
Before you leave, you must sing Wally's World. You know, we've had some really great singers like Lisa Marie. She did a wonderful job on Wally's World.
Oh, Wally's World! For the love of God!
We're coming in.
Wally's World! Wally's World! NASCAR! Invincible! Wally's World! Wally's World! Stop the car before I throw up!
Now, you sure you want to stop?
Yes! Oh my God, please stop! This is coming out Tuesday, everybody. The RV DVD. Please buy it. And remember my face because I'm sure I'm gonna die.
You've given that feeling to a number of people in that car, Wally.
Yeah, just this morning. I went to the track.
Well, I think the Emmy is secure. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Budweiser Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race. Budweiser congratulates Kurt Busch, his third pole of 2006. We'll see him in the shootout at Daytona in 2007. Here's the starting grid for today's NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race at the Glen. Kurt Busch on the pole, won from the pole yesterday. Casey Kane starts outside row 1.
Inside of row 2, Ryan Newman. And the big winner on road course is Jeff Gordon on the outside.
Go to row 3, Brickyard 400 winner Jimmy Johnson next to Robbie Gordon in that 7 car. Keep your eye on that today.
And there we find Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart. And I think Wally's, can you talk to Kevin back there, you think?
Well, we can give it a try, BP. I know they're pretty far away, but let's see if we can reach them. Hey, Kevin, this is Wally D in the booth. Can you hear me?
Oh, Wally, go ahead.
Well, it was fun for us yesterday. I don't know how it was out there for you, but it was a fun Busch race. What's your guys' strategy for today?
Well, I think right now, keep it on the track, first of all, keep everything together, and you know, make a couple pit stops here. So, other than that, our GM Goodwrench Chevrolet has been pretty good all weekend, just going to have to take care of the brakes.
Yeah, that's a big issue here. Everybody knows that for sure. What are you guys, do you have a plan and you are just going to stick to the plan no matter what as far as making your pit stops and strategy today?
Right now, everything should be good. The brakes are the biggest concern of mine, and the rest of it, they tell me will be fine. So we'll go from there.
Okay, good luck, Kevin.
Thank you.
Kevin Harvick had a strong run here on Saturday, the race that was won by Kurt Busch. And of course, Robbie Gordon finished second. You take a look at the rest of the starting grid. Former series champion Terry Labonte is back there. You see in row 16, Bill Elliott. There'll be a new driver in that car next week for Evernham Motorsports. He's next to Scott Riggs. Michael Waltrip, Paul Menard back there in row 17. Row 18, Martin Truex Jr. and Bobby Labonte in the 43. Behind them, Joe Nemechek and former Watkins Glen winner Kyle Petty. Dale Jarrett back in row 20 with Reed Sorensen. Greg Biffle in a backup car is in row 21 with Sterling Marlin. And Brian Simo starts 43rd this afternoon here at the Glen. Take a look at the guys that did not make the race and the guys that are going to the back. Mark Martin with an engine change. He's back there with Sterling Marlin. Biffle's in a backup car. And Mark Goosen's also going to the back, the young driver from Belgium. Field working pace laps here at Watkins Glen. The green flag coming up after a final report from pit road when we come back to the Glen. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Watkins Glen is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. This is Budweiser. This is beer. By Nextel, only from Sprint. Get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel. By Toyota, choose any direction as long as it's moving forward. Toyota, moving forward. And by DLP Technology from Texas Instruments. HD TV doesn't get any more real than this. Cars are on the track. Let's get the final stories from pit road. Here's Matt.
Bill, you've already heard a lot of concerns about fuel, brakes, and also trying to conserve and pad point leads. But if your board said, that I think is where the e-ticket ride sits today, back in the 15th position. An impressive road course specialist with awesome credentials. And his goal today, just one, go to victory lane. He doesn't have any concerns about points. This is his final race of 2006 in the 60 car. He has a lot of success in NASCAR. He's got a first in the Truck Series, a second in Busch, and he has a third right here in Nextel Cup. He says, keep an eye on the 60 today. He has a great race car, and he intends to show it and become the first road course specialist since Mark Donahue back in '73 to go to victory lane. Dave?
Matt, here's what road course specialist Ron Fellows has at stake today. His team that he's driving for this weekend is in the danger zone in owners' points. They're 37th. They had no guaranteed spot in today's race. They hired Ron to first of all qualify them into this race and then to hold a position that might get them into the owners' points next week. So Ron isn't going to do anything stupid out there, even though he's a very good road racer. What it does mean, he's in his comfort zone. If he can race for the win, he will. Watch Fellows today. Marty?
Well, Dave, let me give you the other end of the spectrum with several guys in this field who aren't so good at road course racing, including some battling for the championship, like Kyle Busch, who is currently 4th in the championship standings, or tied for 4th in the championship standings, who admits this is not his best thing, not the best discipline that he does. He told me a moment ago, if I come out of here with a top 15, I am happy today. When they listed the tracks coming into the chase, they said, you know what, this is the #1 track we're worried about, Watkins Glen. If we can leave there with a top 10, top 15 finish, it's almost like a win for us. Alan?
Well, Marty, let's talk about something a lot of the crew chiefs face today, and that is an unusual pit strategy. You've already heard fuel alluded to a couple of times on the broadcast. Where normally on an oval track race, you start at the green flag and run as far as you can on fuel before pitting. Because you can run a green flag pit stop here at Watkins Glen without losing a lap, things are backwards here. You start at the finish, lap 90, and subtract the number of laps, pitting as soon as you can. If you stop sooner than everyone else and get lucky and catch a caution flag, the rest of the cars pit under yellow and fall in behind you on the racetrack. You've just gotten a free pass by all of those cars on the speedway. One of these teams, perhaps Kurt Busch's, perhaps Robbie Gordon's down the turn 1 end of pit road, might catch that lucky caution today. It might be the difference between winning the race and finishing, say, 15th. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. You guys have a great day down there. To see the entire pit map, go to NASCAR.com's homepage and click on Pit Map. Jimmy Johnson, a winner 1 week ago at Indianapolis, trying for 2 in a row. The conversation on his radio just a few moments ago.
Jimmy, the one thing that we're going to do a little bit different from the very start is I want you to try to conserve fuel from the get-go. Want to get a really good fuel mileage reading on this first stint, okay? Easy into the corner, short shifting, doing all that kind of stuff. No scrubbing the tires under caution.
And don't get passed. Other than that, you know, that's going to be tough to do. I mean, obviously, the short shifting is something you can get away with, but or you've got to run hard down into these corners. You know, these guys are going to be all over you under braking.
And road racing, I love it because you see more strategy at road races than any other racetracks we go to. These guys are going to pit as soon as they can get within a window.
Take a look at our Chevrolet drivers to watch. Jeff Gordon, of course, the king of the road with 9 road course wins. Tony Stewart going for 3 in a row here. Earnhardt Jr.'s best road course finish a 3rd. Jimmy Johnson coming off the win a week ago at the Brickyard 400. So set up what we're going to see when they throw the green flag here as everybody charges for 1.
Well, really what you want to do is you want to be single file going up through the S's. So, you know, whether you're on the inside or the outside, you need, whoever you're racing with, you need to give a little bit and get single file, because you can't run side by side up through the S's without bumping into each other or causing a problem, or losing a lot of time on the guys that are running single file through there. So you have to be real careful getting through one. Hopefully everybody will get through there without making a mistake on downshifting or braking, because everybody's so close. But you really got to just thread the needle going through the S's, then go racing after the first lap.
I talked to a crew chief in the garage area this morning, and he was concerned about a lot of wrecks today because he doesn't feel like we're going to have a lot of giving.
a lot of taking,
but not much giving.
Well, yesterday in the Busch race, we saw a lot of that giving earlier and a lot of that taking later, didn't we? We'll see what happens here this afternoon. A lot of guys racing for the win, a lot of guys looking at their position in the points. Just 5 races remain before the cutoff, and the chase for the championship begins after Richmond.
And I wouldn't be surprised. You're going to see somebody make it 3 wide BP, trying to get down. They're going to try to make a bunch of spots up. If you can get away with it, you can pass a lot of cars, but sometimes you don't get away with it.
That's where the taking part comes in, trying to go 3 wide on the first lap.
Kurt Busch and Casey Kane on the front row. 43 cars on a front stretch that is only 42 feet wide. All heading for turn 1. About to put the green flag in the air at Watkins Glen. We're going racing on NBC.
Kane got in the back of Kurt Busch, slides off, gonna lose some spots, but I don't think there's any damage to his car.
Boy, did a good job getting back in line there, and a lot of traffic.
If going through the dirt didn't hurt his car.
Black flag for the 90 car, passing to the right on the start.
Ryan Newman going for the lead.
Good area to try to outbrake somebody. Ooh, Casey Kane bobbled there a little bit. Wow, that's a great shot. I think those rocks are from the 2 car. Still falling out.
Jeff Gordon in the 24, Robbie Gordon in the 7. And Jimmy Johnson, then Kurt Busch. There's the pole sitter.
Robbie Gordon taking a look.
There's that saving fuel thing for the 48.
Yeah, it's like I said, as long as you don't fall too many spots back, but it's hard to short shift and go in easy and not get past, especially at the start of a race.
Tony Stewart got around Jimmy Johnson as well. Ryan Newman leads the first lap.
Boy, Jeff Gordon making the move. Oh, 3 wide. Jeff Gordon, very smart to back off there. Robbie goes wide. He's going to lose the spot. Oh,
contact
there.
Kurt Busch got Casey Kane back.
Got him back. Okay, so about that given part.
You were right, BP. A lot of taking so far.
And this is just the first few laps.
That's right.
Imagine what's going to be like at the end.
Tony Stewart for position.
Wow, a lot of smoke out of the 29 car. Kevin Harvick under braking there. Still a lot of smoke coming out of that car.
Looks like he's made contact with somebody in the fender, maybe.
Sure does. It's crushed down on that left front. You could really see it when the car is under braking. That's when the nose drops to the ground when you hit the brakes.
Kyle Busch in the 5. There's Kane behind him. Then Jimmy Johnson. Completing the second lap here at the Glen. Newman tries to move away.
Wow, Kurt Busch underneath Robbie Gordon takes a spot. It's like Robbie Gordon's having a hard time in turn 1 right now.
Also in the garage here this morning, talked about the 20 car and just how fast that car is.
Robbie's car looks like it might be a little bit tight. Can't turn the car. No front grip.
Saw some penalties back here at the bus stop or the inner loop yesterday. More on Robbie Gordon from Allen.
Hey, Wally, I really hate to contradict you, but Robbie just called in on the radio and said the exact opposite. Said the back end of his car is what's wiggling around. Very loose right now. That's the report.
So he's got his hands full.
Yes.
Ryan Newman finished second his first race here in 2002.
A lot of smoke off Harvick's car there.
Oh, Kyle Busch almost missed the corner.
He just made it a little bigger than it normally is. Kyle in the 5. Kurt Busch on the move to the inside of Jeff Gordon. That's for second. Falls in behind his teammate Ryan Newman.
And Stewart takes a spot from Robbie Gordon. That's for fourth.
So two of the cars we expected to be strong, the 2 and the 20.
Oh, Terry Labonte. DLP car. Definitely broke a rear end.
Straight to the garage. And there's Reed Sorensen. There's Terry slowing down right there. Pulling off to the side. And then we'll cross the track after it's clear and go to the garage. Dave?
They are reporting a broken rear end on that race car. Second and third gear broke.
Man, transmission and gear.
Yep, transmission and gear. BB's thing.
Wow. That's too bad. Terry with a lot of success here at Watkins Glen. Tony Stewart working over the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. See what happens as they head for one.
Yeah, Stewart's car looks pretty good right now. Get a little bit closer to Gordon and try to set him up going, try to outbrake him here in turn 1.
Working lap 5. Let's take a look at how the race started. And it literally started when the green flag came out.
Yeah, look, you see Kurt Busch going down, and I think Casey Kane went to block, protect that inside, and he just got in way, way too deep. He tried to block Newman, and he got into to Kurt.
And Robbie Gordon on the inside of Jeff, but he gets his angle all wrong getting in the corner. Can't make the corner.
And there you see Kurt Busch come up and get Casey Kane back.
A lot of fun stuff early here at the Glen.
Uh-oh. Somewhere in that dust is a car. Elliott Sadler, I'm told.
Caution's out now. Caution's out now.
And that's very likely, or this race is very likely, Elliott Sadler's last race for Robert Yates Racing. Word in the garage this morning, an announcement tomorrow that there will be some changes. Marty, what do you know?
Well, yeah, Bill, I talked to Elliott this morning, and he said it's likely 70-30 chance that he will be in the 19 car next week driving for Ray Evernham, trying to work all that out. Unfortunately, it looks like the race will come to an early end here for Elliott Sadler today in what might be his last ride for Robert Yates Racing.
Back at the bus stop.
And he got turned. Casey Mears
helped him
turned him, yeah.
And that M&M on the back says it all. So Elliott Sadler's days at Robert Yates Racing in a cloud of dust. Under caution at Watkins Glen with Ryan Newman, the race leader. Still working caution here at Watkins Glen. Take a look at our AutoZone in the zone drivers for the 2006 season. Kyle Busch with 4 top 10 finishes in his last 5 races. Matt Kenseth with those 11 top 5s. And Kevin Harvick, one of the hot drivers as we head for the end of the race to the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Elliott Sadler, the only car headed down pit road. We'll take another quick break and come back to the Glen. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Big day of sports on NBC. Right now we're live at Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York. Lights are out on the pace car field coming to get the green flag. A number of cars have been on and off of pit road. Michael Waltrip got a pass-through penalty because he blew through the loop in the back and didn't stop. If you miss the inner loop, you have to come to a complete stop and then continue on your way. Ryan Newman is the race leader. His teammate Kurt Busch right behind him. Then Tony Stewart in 3rd, Jeff Gordon 4th, Robbie Gordon 5th.
probably not for long.
Ready. Great.
And we've seen some cars pulling over to the right. And Kurt Busch goes after his teammate. Tell you what, he's been getting in turn one really, really good. Made most of his passes right there under braking.
And Kyle Busch goes by Robbie Gordon, take over that position.
Now the short backstretch toward the inner loop. It was Paul Menard with the pass-through penalty for missing the inner loop back there, not Michael Waltrip. Stewart runs third. There's Jeff Gordon. There's Robbie in the 7 behind Kyle Busch. Report from pit road is that the tire rub on the 29 car was caused by contact between the 48 of Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick in turn 1.
Kyle Busch trying to set up. There goes Stewart. Nice move. That was a nice move on Ryan Newman right there. The drag race down the straightaway, and Stewart's in a good position to make the outbreak move and should take that spot.
Not much give there.
Not much give, but Stewart's in the better position going into turn 2 here.
Tony Stewart takes second.
For Kyle Busch, not liking these road courses too much. He's doing pretty good right now.
This is the contact we talked about between the 48 of Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick. Marty?
Right side.
Yeah, Bill, even that slight bit of contact did it in the left front fender of the 29 car for just a little bit, and it's only under heavy braking that it really affects that left front tire, but the tire rub has seemingly gone away. Since then, Jimmy Johnson has radioed to his spotter to apologize to Kevin Harvick under that last caution. He did that. Kevin said, no problem, it's a long race.
And let's, remember, you've seen these guys dropping wheels a lot and getting in the dirt and the grass right here, and that causes a lot of problems for those guys, because if you drop a wheel in this grass and dirt, it's going to blow onto the, the front screen for the radiator on some of these cars. These guys are going to start overheating. We saw that yesterday, I believe, with Jamie McMurray's car in the Busch race. So
I talked to Greg Biffle about that this morning because he was behind the Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon experience yesterday. And I said, does that distract you as a driver? He goes, yeah, because especially late there going through the inner loop when all that dust went in the air, you don't know what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, you don't have to reckon. And a lot of times you'll do that on purpose. You'll try to throw that stuff up behind you at the guy that's, behind you. A little bit early in the race to be doing that, but
Tony Stewart working on the back bumper of Kurt Busch.
Those guys in the garage area were not kidding about the 20 car being fast.
See if Stewart can pull that same move. That was a pretty good move right here in this left-hander. If he doesn't do it here, if he can stay close enough getting out of turn 7, Kurt Busch got through there pretty good. Got through there really good.
Just want to go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Picked up about 2 or 3 car lengths through there, so it didn't give Stewart the opportunity to be able to outbrake him going into turn 1.
Just want to let you know the scoring link, the timing and scoring link from NASCAR is down right now. That's why you're not seeing the ticker across the top of the screen. Robbie Gordon in the 7 car. This was their radio traffic just a little while ago.
We may win the race, but I can tell you we brought a sword to a gunfight as far as the motor count is. We lose as much today as we did yesterday on the straightaways.
Frustrating for a driver. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that when you're getting out driven on a straightaway, and that's what Robbie's complaining about. He just doesn't feel like he's got as good a motor as these guys that are in front of him right now.
What did he say? He brought a sword to a gunfight?
Yes.
That usually doesn't work out too well. Boris said he's got cameras all over the car.
That's a great shot looking back at him. Gives you kind of an idea of how you look at the wheel, you look in the mirror, you're shifting. Takes a look at his gauges. I think he was waving to the crowd there. I'm not sure what that was, but
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Goes through the left-hander. Back to the right-hander around the straightaway. Let's see if we stay with the shot. See how big his eyes get when he gets down to turn one. Takes a look in the mirror, see where competition is.
You have to use that mirror going to one, right? Because you want to know if you're being set up.
Yeah, you really do. You have to look at the mirror all the time when you're coming off the corner to see how close that guy is behind you. Because you know if he's close behind you, he's going to make a move going into one. So you got to decide whether you're going to just let him make that move or possibly block him. So every time you come out of the corner, you're looking up in the mirror. Like right there, he takes a look. He wants to see how close these guys are behind him. So he knows how hard he's got to drive into the next corner to try to save that spot, or like I said, block a little bit.
Right behind Jeff Burton.
Here's foot cam.
The dance.
The dance. And you know, he's one of these guys that is a right foot breaker. I think most of the drivers now are left foot breakers. We use our left foot on the brake pedal. We never take our right foot off the gas. But if you watch going in, he'll take his right foot off, gets on the brake, heel and toes downshifts. It's just a lot of work for your right foot to do. Now, if you saw his left foot came over and pumped the brake, and that's one thing you'll find a lot of guys doing at Watkins Glen. These brakes get soft because they get hot. And you'll come over and you'll tap that brake pedal like he's doing right there to make sure the pedal's there. So when he gets after the brakes going hard into one, he's got confidence that thing's going to stop.
Because sometimes you have to stop in a hurry.
Yes. Yeah, and if you don't have brakes, you're going to stop in a hurry.
Matt?
And Bill, what you were watching there, many call trade secrets. And really, Boris said is more like a professor for the majority of the drivers in today's field. They have all spent quality one-on-one time with him at various road course tracks in the Southeast, trying to hone their road course skills. Whether you're a rookie or if you've been in the sport for a few years, a number of guys still say they taught him so many things that they are putting in use today. Right now, the goal for Boris, just to hunker down and just pick off a few more spots before that first pit stop.
Yeah, he's helped a lot of guys here. Don't think he's showing them everything, but he's helped a lot of them.
There's your race leader, Kurt Busch, here at the Glen. Started from the pole, won the Busch race here yesterday. So, want to be a camera guy?
You have to be a real short one.
Oh, and you have to stand on your head. Kurt Busch continues to lead here at Watkins Glen. 15 laps complete. There's second place Tony Stewart right behind him as they go through the inner loop. Brian Newman has the third spot, then Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch. One of the drivers trying to make the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship. Carl Edwards is 14th in the standings. There you see him, not in the position he wants to be in, Alan.
There is the reason why, Bill. That is a cut in the right front tire on the Carl Edwards car that just came. This tire just came off the car. They changed 4 tires, filled it up with fuel, but that was shy of their fuel window. That's going to be a problem later on today.
You know, we see all those rocks with that camera back in the inner loop, Wally. Those rocks just do not agree with these racing tires.
Now, there's, like I said, there's a lot of debris on the racetrack. When these guys are dropping wheels and pulling that dirt and grass and stuff up, you're right. Hot, sticky tires and hard, sharp rocks, they don't go well together. And here we go, for position.
Kyle Busch around Gordon. Now Jeff Gordon.
Robbie Gordon's going to take a spot away, too.
Jeff Burton is on pit road. Marty?
Yeah, Bill, third place man in the championship standings. Very much a scheduled pit stop for Jeff Burton here on lap 16. When I walked in the 31 hauler this morning, they were watching last year's race, trying to decide when would be the best lap to pit. They decided 16 and somewhere around 55. Matt?
And Greg Biffle sharing pits at this juncture of the race, trying to get the fuel cell full of fuel. He stalls the car. Finally, he is away. They made a chassis adjustment to try to help the balance on exit of the corners. Bill?
Thanks, guys.
Man, these guys are looking at running 39, 40 laps on that last stop.
Looks like the 11 car's got some damage on the right front as well. Denny Hamlin right there.
And the 29 car going to pit road.
Yep. Have the hand out the window.
First gear, 4100.
Here's Kevin Harvick.
Quick. First gear, 4100.
Currently 4th in the championship standings, heading for pit road.
They might have a little trouble getting that right front off the way that fender is, so they're going to take a look at that, Marty.
Yeah, Wally, they're going to take a look at that left front fender, but Kevin made a point to tell his crew, listen, don't spend too much time on that left front fender because honestly, it's not hurting me that much. Chassis-wise, for the 2019, the car has been excellent. So it's going to be 4 tires, no changes to the chassis for Kevin Harvick, who ran the top 5 for much of that run the last time. He was a little bit concerned about the brakes, said the pedals a little bit softer than I would like it, but no big concern as of yet. It'll be a 4-tire change, and again, just like his teammate Jeff Burton, very scheduled stop. They too planning on pitting for their second stop, like around lap 55.
Well, the strategy begins.
Boy, early, doesn't it?
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, these guys are going to run to lap 55, make another pit stop, and they're done for the day.
That's it.
They hope they're done for the day.
That's right. That would be the plan.
That's right. You have to guess at how many cautions are going to come out. You have to figure that you might go green, white checkers. That adds some time to the race.
We're a little bit tight turning into the race, but we're really good coming off the race.
Kurt Busch talking to...
No changes when we pit. Keep digging, keep digging.
Crew Chief Roy McCauley. Kurt won the pole at Sonoma. Finished 5th there. His best finish here is 10th in 5 races. Matt Kenseth is on pit road. Dave?
Showing their hand, pitting here on, I believe it's lap 18 now, Bill, or 17? Let's count it.
Working lap 19 right now.
Working 19. I'm losing track already. His car was a little bit loose in the right-hander, so they made a chassis adjustment for that. Was also running just a little bit hot, so they took some tape off the front of the grill, and that'll fix both the hot and the loose condition.
But they've got to be careful now. 35 miles per hour on pit road, and that just is an eternity going down these long pit roads. Matt Kenseth just now getting to the end of pit road, and here comes Kurt Busch by the start-finish line. So Matt very close to being lapped.
There were a few speeding tickets issued yesterday.
And you're so close to the racetrack here when you're on pit lane. And it's just, you're looking at all these guys going by, and that right foot goes down a little bit more, and you get busted for it. Very easy to speed here.
Martin Truex Jr. has also been on and off of pit road. There's 3-time Watkins Glen winner, Mark Martin. Currently scored in the 21st position. More on Mark from Dave.
And they had to start at the back of the field. They had a motor change overnight, broke a valve. After lap 1, he was scored in 40th position. So the former winner here trying to make his way back up through the field.
And he knows how to do it. Excellent road racer. Really enjoys the challenge of road course racing as well. Last win here 11 years ago today, back in '95.
Casey Mears just came in and serviced.
And Casey Mears has been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Yep.
There you see Kenseth, and drop back and see the race leader, Kurt Busch, while his brother heads for pit road. So that's what Benny was talking about. You stop, get your pit service, then you have to tiptoe off of pit road, and you have to hope you can hang on to the lead lap. Marty.
Well, Bill, Kyle Busch has been quite impressive in the early run here, running in the top 5 for much of this run. And he said the car, it just needs more forward bite off of the corners. Just does not have enough rear grip for him. They take a pound out of both rear tires, trying to help him off of the corners especially. He said also he's a little concerned as well about his brake pedal. A little softer than he would like, but an impressive run so far for Kyle. Matt?
Very solid stop by Boris Said's crew. They made a chassis adjustment. He needed help on the right-handers, but also Frank Stoddard made an air pressure adjustment that helped the car on forward bite up off the corner. Solid stop by these guys. Waiting on the 12 of Newman next.
See Robbie Gordon making his pit stop. Comes out right in front of Harvick.
Now all these guys have pitted. If the caution flag...
Pit now if you can.
I think that was Kurt Busch's radio.
Right now, if the caution were to come out, Kurt has to get behind the pace car, and these fellows would make up almost an entire lap on him.
That's what Alan was talking about before we went green. Matt.
Ryan Newman just missed his pit. Now keep in mind, yesterday in the Busch race, there was a 12, there was a 39. As he finally makes his way in, so there is sometimes some confusion, but he just overshot his pit. Luckily, he didn't go too far by. The chassis adjustment is completed for Newman, almost a huge, huge mental error. Everything was good on the car, except a small balance issue in the S's. He drops it, and he is away.
Now, it was better he did that and back up into the pit instead of going back around and doing it all over again, because he'd lose way too much time coming down pit road. So that was the right thing to do.
There he is coming onto pit road.
Oops. I just went by my pit, he said.
Matt?
Bill, it's funny because I had a conversation with Ryan's father, Greg, this morning. He says, I'm surprised that more people don't have issues with their pit board signs just because of those different numbers that Ryan has driven in the past. He has a huge A on his pit board sign here as his teammate Kurt Busch and then Tony Stewart making their way down pit road.
Now, a lot of times, I'll always have my guys count me down. When they see me 5 away, they'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, and then that helps you dial in where you're supposed to pull in.
Tony Stewart heading for his stall. Allen.
And a little head-to-head battle here of these pit crews, as you see. Stewart closing right up on Kurt Busch as they made the entrance to the pit road. Stewart's crew chief Greg Zipadelli telling him that their pit stall is slanted downhill. Be sure you keep your foot on the brake. A 4-tire change for the 20 car. To Kurt Busch, a little air pressure adjustment. They've also gone around down on the left side track bar to try and help the rear end grip on the car. The race off pit road.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Kurt's going to hang on.
Oh, just barely. But did you see how much space that Tony Stewart made up getting on the pit road?
Mm-hmm. And they got to go. Stewart would love to pass him going into the inner loop right here.
Tony was hustling getting off.
Yeah, you know, that's time you got to make up right there. And Dale Jarrett is right in front of them. Actually, may slow them down a little bit coming through the inner loop. Yes, he does. Stewart's all over him right there. Oh, he's got to take a look down the bottom, but there's not much room to do that. Unless it's the last lap.
If it had been the last lap, I would imagine the 20 would have gone on.
Stewart taking a look to the left.
3 wide at the road course.
I'm going to give this corner to Stewart.
Matt, about that 24 stop?
The 24 is in, and Wally, like you mentioned, Steve Letarte, Jeff's crew chief, he called him down. Now Gordon is in the first spot, past the media center tower. Kind of there's an island between. Now they made an air pressure adjustment. Gordon says the car was just getting killed on the left-handers. Not too bad, but especially on the right. AB?
Casey Kane started up on the front row. He's going to pit for a 4-tire change here. Kane had fallen back a couple of spots, a little bit of left rear damage with the contact that he had on the opening lap with Kurt Busch, but nothing major according to the team. Dave?
Mark Martin finishing up his stop now, roaring off 4 tires, no changes for the 6 car. Also on pit road, the 32 of Ron Fellows. Very tight race car, air pressure adjustment, 4-tire change for Ron.
And oh yeah, Tony Stewart got around Kurt Busch.
Yep. These guys have been pretty evenly matched, really. I mean, right before they came in the pits, these guys were running really, really close lap times.
So much going on, like you talked about, Penny, at these road course races all over the place. So much for the fans to see.
And it's so unusual to watch a stock car race and see these guys pitting when there's no call on the green flag, when there's no caution flag.
Hoping it doesn't come out.
Hoping the caution, and you see Jimmy Johnson.
Allen?
Well, Jimmy Johnson said the goal for the day was a top 10 finish. He was hanging right in there. Matter of fact, led for 5 bonus points toward the championship. They're going to make a 4-tire change here for Jimmy Johnson. Chad Knaus only choosing to make air pressure adjustments on this car all day today. He said not to look for them to do any other kind of adjustment once this race started.
See, now Chad wants to get a good, he told Jimmy he wants to get a good fuel mileage. So when he gets to his window, it may be lap 55, lap 60. He may only run 25 laps on this run and pit again. Probably will be 30 laps, but.
New race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Boris Said spins.
Down in turn 1.
Come on, man. Sean, you got plenty of room. 1 more to come. All yours now. All yours.
He was in the 22nd spot. Matt?
And keep an eye on the front. Tony Eury Jr. back out of retirement due to issues in the rehab of Chris Crumley. He practiced with the team this week. Walt Smith, the pit crew coordinator, told me it was almost like Tony never stopped changing tires. He was in the low 13s, waiting on the fuel. Small air pressure adjustment. Jr. said he needed help with forward bite, but also the car just too tight. They worked on that as well.
Tony Eury, he was as good as the rear man.
Let's take a look at what happened to Boris Said just a moment ago.
Yeah, we were way into it there when we caught it, but hard to tell if he just wheel hopped going down in there or. This will give us wheel hop. Jump on the brakes, and you get on the brakes too hard, the front goes down and the rear wheels are like on two big pogo sticks, and it just jumps down the track.
Scott Wimmer and Kyle Petty have not pitted. They're scored first and second right here at Watkins Glen. You're watching the AMD at the Glen live on NBC. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from Watkins Glen is brought to you by Bank of America. Experience higher standards in checking only from Bank of America. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood, Applebee's. And by Ford, bold moves.
A left rear tire on the 5 car of Kyle Busch.
I'm coming to you. I'm knocking everything out of the bottom of it.
That has brought out the caution here at the Glen.
As well.
A lot of smoke out of the back of that car.
Terry Labonte has returned to the race.
This is just coming out of the inner loop, and whatever let go happened right there coming out of the inner loop on Kyle Busch's car.
It's like something that the powertrain broke and blew the left rear tire.
Marty, you got more on this?
Yeah, they've been on the radio talking about it for a while. They didn't know what it was. Terry Labonte was behind that, and he radioed over to the team and said it looked like to me that the rear track bar broke, and that might be why the left rear tire has gone down. Obviously, they have to lift up the car. They're going to change 4 tires here, get that on, and they say it is indeed a broken track bar mount. That's what they're talking about right now. They're going to have to wheel it back to the garage and go fix it. This is the team tied for 4th in the championship standings. And remember, the first thing Kyle told me about, we talked at the beginning of the show, they just wanted to leave here with a top 15. This will put them in the garage for a while.
This is not going to give them a top 15, Marty, that's for sure. This guy's been having some troubles with sway bars and things like that.
And right now, Kyle Busch, as they run, 3rd in the championship standing. Scott Wimmer to pit road, but he's got a speeding ticket. Elliott Sadler is the lucky dog. Still working caution here at Watkins Glen. Number of factors figure into whether you're successful here or not. Pit strategy is one of them. Obviously, how good your car is, and maybe brakes are a little bit of a factor, huh, guys?
Brakes are a big factor. We go inside our Home Depot virtual garage, and you just hammer the brakes here. It's just, you're so hard on them all the time. So what the teams do, there's openings in the front of the car. These rotors get really, really, really hot. And if they get too hot, they'll even boil the fluid in the caliper. So what the teams do, they run as many hoses as they can, pointing at that rotor, try to blow air towards that rotor to keep the brakes as cool as possible. A lot of guys will even run fans on some of these hoses. So that's one thing they do on a racetrack like this, is just try to keep them as cool as possible.
And we've heard most of the drivers today complaining about brakes. A lot of drivers complain about brakes already.
And P.J. Jones exploded one of those here, right down here a year ago, right?
Right.
Then spun the car out, put it into the wall because he didn't have any brakes. Here's a good look at the inner loop, or the bus stop as they call it. An update on Tony Stewart from Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, Bill, you saw the racing back and forth between Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch, which Kurt is now in charge of. Tony talked about not wanting to run as hard as Kurt at this point in the race. And under this caution, he and crew chief Greg Zipadelli had a discussion about saving the brake system for the end of the day. Zippy telling Tony, in the big picture of things, it'll pay bigger dividends for them to have a little bit more left in the final laps of the race than it will to run that extra bit hard right now.
So you know what you've got, but you want to have it at the end.
Well, a lot of times you get these things too hot and they never come back. And, you know, that's another problem. You can run them really hard, glaze the rotors. They just get so hot, they turn blue. And like on PJ's deal, I believe that's what some of it was. You know, it just got so hot.
And also the brakes, what happens is they get so hot and they cool hot and so cool that they warp the rotors. Those big rotors warp. And that's what happens going down the straightaway. They knock the pads back. So when you get to the corner, you hit the brakes. That's why the pedal goes down so far, is because of warpage in the rotors.
So that's why you see these guys pumping them. What they're actually doing is they're pumping the pad back to the rotor. So when they get to the brake pedal, the pads are on the rotor and they're there. There's not that gap, because if there's that gap, the pedal will go further down to the floor.
Race leader is Kyle Petty. Matt, they're coming to get the green.
And his guys are waiting for him to come to pit road so they can fuel the car and put tires on it. They were staying out to get their 5 bonus points. And, you know, the 92 winner, he has said a number of times they feel like this team continues to make small steps, already building more and more for next year. And Kyle follows the pace car down pit road. And look at those cones up on the fence, though, Bill. They put those up there because guys couldn't see the restart point yesterday.
And that's a big factor. Kurt Busch, the pole sitter, is the race leader. Green flag out again at the Glen.
Kenny Schrader there in the second spot. You see all these guys diving to the right. Casey Mears is going to take about 3 of them on this restart. And I think Jimmy Johnson and Harvick ran into each other again going down there in turn 1.
Had an incident between those two earlier in the race. Knocked in the front left fender, front right fender actually. It was the left fender of the 29 car. Left fender.
Yes, left front fender.
Goes Stewart underneath Schrader.
Schrader in the 21 car, another car that has not pitted yet.
He's got the track position right now, but he's got a lot of cars behind him that are on better tires that will pass him very quickly.
Marty Moore and Schrader.
Yeah, fellas, they actually did stop at lap 6, took on 4 tires and fuel at that point. But what it does, BP, now they don't have to stop till lap 42. So Schrader can hang it out there in the top 5 for a little while longer if he like. That is if he can keep that 7 car behind him.
Nope.
That one's not going to happen.
Now restarts throughout the day are big here at Watkins Glen. Big at every track, especially here though. And NASCAR warned a couple of drivers last time to make sure you pull up, you tighten up the field on the restart. Among those drivers, Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. They want the field tightly bunched when they come to get the green flag on the restart.
Good move by Jeff Gordon, take that spot away.
On board again with Schrader, up through the S's.
Casey Mears took the spot from Schrader. Hey, Mears has been running pretty good today so far. Robbie Gordon back underneath Jeff, as we would expect, into the inner loop.
Yeah, Robbie sailed it into the inner loop. How about that? See that about 59 more times today. Mears closing in on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. Closing in on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. Marty, got some more on Mears?
Yeah, one time he finished 4th here, Bill, and they're having an awfully good run today. The car is excellent. Casey, not saying a whole lot on the radio, probably because he's a little busy inside the race car, but he said before they made that first stop on lap 19, he didn't want any changes to the chassis, and then slowly worked their way through the field with an excellent race car, trying to keep it up there in the top 5 right now.
You know, Casey'd love to have another solid finish. Look at this behind them.
Yeah, these guys are all just trying to make their way around Kenny Schrader. I mean, Kenny, although he stopped on lap 6, his tires are shot compared to all the rest of these guys who have fresh tires on them. So he's just hanging on right now.
And if he had stopped with Kyle Petty, he's still got to make another stop. Right. Although he's going to have to make 2 more stops anyway.
He's got a traffic jam behind him.
Comes Earnhardt on the outside.
Junior currently running in the 15th position. Make that 14th now as he gets by Schrader.
Oh, we got trouble in the inner loop.
And the caution comes out.
Mark Goshen's in the 90 car. has spun.
Boris around again. Take a look as they all try and jump into the inner loop.
That contact must have started back on the straightaway.
Way back there, yeah.
Everybody trying to funnel in to the bus stop at the end of the backstretch here at Watkins Glen. The caution is out. Kurt Busch is the race leader. Working caution here, clean up in the inner loop at Watkins Glen. And here's why. Let's go on board with Boris Said, looking off the back bumper.
Yeah, it's Mark Goshen's right behind him, and he's going to get into the back of Boris Said, and that's why Boris went sliding through the grass and the dirt. And Mark also spun out.
Yes, he did. And Boris did a good job getting it out of there.
Yeah, he did. I didn't think he was going to get out of that gravel trap, but gets it in there. Gets it in gear and drops the clutch and goes.
There's Boris. A lot of excitement here yesterday, setting the stage for today. Here's what it looked like yesterday at Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Busch Series race. Robbie trying the crossover.
Holy mackerel, did Gordon drive that thing in? He's going to cross over one more time.
That's an unbelievable move.
I'll tell you what, that was strong, and he's on the inside, and they are banging doors. Here he comes. Whoa!
Oh, to the inside.
Wow!
Contact. They're through the grass. And Kurt Busch comes out.
Unbelievable.
You got him. Nice job.
Toward the start-finish line, checkered flag in the air.
It doesn't get too much better than that.
Kurt Busch wins a wild one at the Glen. And here are the unofficial championship standings for the NASCAR Busch Series. Kevin Harvick.
He is just making uglier and uglier every week.
Carl Edwards in second, the top 5 in the NASCAR Busch Series standings. Under caution here at Watkins Glen, we expect to see more of that kind of excitement as the laps go by here today. Good look at all the fans in the infield, camping out for the weekend here at Watkins Glen, seeing a lot of racing. Race here Friday night, Busch race yesterday, and the Cup race today. Field coming to get the green flag. Now take a look at the carousel on this close-up shot here.
Yeah, see, there's all this stuff right out here. That's all really loose rubber. And when you get out of the line with your left front and you get in that stuff, it is very slippery. It's like just all marbles, and looks like the track is coming apart, but it's actually just that fine rubber off the tires.
It got Jeff Gordon's attention. Listen in.
NASCAR, what they're going to do about the racetrack falling apart in the carousel? Thinking it's just rubber laid down on the pavement? Is that what they're thinking? Maybe, I mean, it could be that, but I mean, I just know when you hit it, it's like ice, and I hear pieces up in the fender wells.
Yeah, all I know is they sent someone out to look at it, and they said that they didn't see anything that was going to be a problem. So I would assume that's what it is, you know.
And you heard the conversation between Jeff Gordon and crew chief Steve Letarte. Similar conversation between Tony Eury Jr. and Dale Jr. He felt the same thing. It was indeed rubber. Green flag's out, guys.
Terry Labonte was the lucky dog. He is 11 laps down. Kyle Busch has returned to the race. He has scored 6 laps down.
Scott Pruitt going 3 wide. Tries to get on the inside of Hamlin and does. Pruitt Scott driving the 40 car.
Right.
Kurt Busch has been getting some great restarts. And he was yesterday, too.
Yeah, real good job, yes.
It's real important to do that. And they know that, because if they don't, somebody's going to have to try, or somebody's going to try to pass him going down into 1.
So Denny Hamlin's going to return the favor.
Got him.
Sure did. Got a couple there, didn't he? Did he get around Boyer as well?
Well, let's see. Nope.
So Hamlin in front of Stremme, or in front of Pruitt in Stremme's car. Stewart chasing Kurt Busch.
Looks like Robbie Gordon in that 7 car has made some adjustments to his car. It looks more competitive now than it was the first few laps.
Alan, what do you know about Robbie?
I'll just add to confirm what VP said. They did make some adjustments on that first stop, but Robbie still wants more. On the first stop, he had them do an air pressure adjustment to the car, and they also did a track bar adjustment. Benny, you guys can explain what those might do to help the car, but he still wants the car to have more rear grip. He still says he's sliding around too much off the corners to get up there and do anything with Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch.
So they're trying to use those to help the handle of the car.
They're just trying to put more grip in the rear. They do that by air pressures. Obviously, they made that track bar adjustment, helping him in the corners as well. See, it looked like on the restart he got up there, but now he's falling back again. These guys are starting to pull away from him a little bit.
Yeah, as soon as they put a lap or two on those tires, he's that loose condition or no grip in the rear. Rears its ugly head again.
We know he's not exactly happy with the power he does or doesn't have today.
No. He brought a sword to a gunfight.
Robbie finished second here yesterday. Ryan Newman stepping out of line, trying to take the position from Jimmy Johnson.
Do it, see if Harvick thinking about getting underneath the 48. Is he there? No. And these guys have kind of run into each other quite a bit today already.
A little bit of a history between Harvick and Jimmy Johnson today.
Danny Hamlin's got a pretty good run on the 29 car right now. I don't know if he's close enough to try to outbreak him. Not this time around.
We look back at the 11 car. This season, you would say, if you look at the season that Denny Hamlin, with his lack of experience, you would say he would really suffer at Watkins Glen. He hasn't suffered too much.
It doesn't look like it. Running the 9th spot right now.
Marty, what do you know about Denny?
A lot. He's a good guy. He's from Virginia. What else you know about him, Bill?
What else you want to add?
Okay, I'll tell you about his race car. Is that a deal?
Sure.
He calls it a rocket ship under that last caution. He said it's very good. But Wally, one thing he said interesting under the last caution, he said, I don't like the gear selection we have for restarts. He said, I'm losing positions when we go into turn one. You saw him fan out to the right. That was more to block other people than it was trying to get some positions himself. But he just doesn't like first gear. Just not enough power going into turn one, especially on restarts.
Well,
that's something to write down in the book for next year, right?
Exactly, because he's stuck with it for the rest of the race. There are some guys take turn one in second gear. It just depends on how you do have the cars geared and what you like. Some guys use that real tall first gear to try to get through turn. Whoa, Jeff Burton sideways. These guys are really dropping wheels through the inner loop.
Pat Trice, the crew chief of Mark Martin, told me for the first time in a long time, Mark Martin is not going to first gear here.
In turn one.
He's been going to first. This time, uh-oh. Car off.
That would be Bill Elliott.
That's what I thought, Bill Elliott.
Got to wait for the dust to clear.
That's right. I don't think he's driving out of there.
It's pretty deep. That looks like it's about up to the axles.
Go on board with Michael Waltrip, the Napa ride, and watch.
Well, we saw Dave Blaney make contact, and both of them spun, but Bill ends up in the kitty litter.
Kyle Busch will be the lucky dog. Bill Elliott needs a tow at the Glen. Still working caution here at Watkins Glen, with 39 laps complete, and Kurt Busch, the race leader, on board with Jeff Burton. Time for our singular race talk question. Will someone besides Jeff Gordon, Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, or Kyle Petty win today? Those are the 5 previous winners here at the Glen and the starting field. To vote, text the word race to 191 on your singular wireless phone, and you'll have a chance to win a first-class trip to Miami. Nobody coming in, everybody staying out under caution here at the Glen. We'll sneak in another break. Working the caution here at the AMD at the Glen on NBC. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Sunday Night Football continues on NBC. John Madden and Al Michaels bring you all the action in Cincinnati as the Redskins face the Bengals. 8 Eastern tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Coach Gibbs looking for the win tonight, looking for a win this afternoon. Tony Stewart trying to repeat as winner here at the Glen. Currently running second behind Kurt Busch.
Another one is car, Denny Hamlin, running in the 9th position. And J.J. Yaley is back in 21st in the 3rd Joe Gibbs entry.
And Hamlin's looked pretty good.
He's looked terrific.
We'll see on this restart if Stewart and Gordon stay a little bit closer to Kurt Busch when they threw the green.
You love the restarts.
I do love the restarts.
Bring your green.
Stewart's a little bit closer. Don't know if he's close enough to pull out. Oh, Robbie Gordon knows how to block. Doesn't he go down in there? Pruitt. 40 car. Trying to get around the 11. Denny Hamlin. Don't get single file through the S's.
Pretty swift through there, huh?
Yeah. Here's Newman.
Ball's back in line behind Mears. See if they all make it through the bus stop this time.
Oh, they're trying to wreck.
Boris was back in that mess, wasn't he? That time they warned Jamie McMurray to stay closed up on the restarts.
And what these guys are trying to do, they're trying to lay back a little bit and anticipate when they throw the green, so you got a little bit of a run by the time you get to the start-finish line, so you can pull out on the guy and make the pass. That's why they're laying back a little bit.
Trying to get that momentum going for them.
There's Denny Hamlin. FedEx Chevy.
Takes a spot away from Harvick.
This is Hamlin's first Nextel Cup race at Watkins Glen. Had a good run at Sonoma and ran here yesterday in the Busch race.
And won the NASCAR Busch Series race in Mexico City back in the spring, which I thought was his first road course race ever. He's a quick learner, I think, this boy.
Talk to the guys around that team. They believe he is.
A lot of these guys, especially the rookies, some of the veterans also go through the Bob Bonnarant driving school. And they pick up a lot of tips that help these guys understand how you brake, how you downshift, where you're supposed to be. You know, entering the corner, exiting the corners. And some are quick learners.
Uh-oh, Greg
Biffle. Boy, it has been a tough weekend for him. That's a backup car after a practice crasher.
What'd he hit? Or who'd he hit?
It sure looks like another car, doesn't it?
Now, Ronnie, let's get it to the garage. Let's get a radiator in this thing. We got to go.
Greg Biffle is 13th in the championship standings right now, desperately trying to make the chase for the Nextel Cup.
Newman takes a spot away from Casey Mears. That'd be 5th spot.
And Casey Mears has caution flag is out.
These Penske cars look really good today.
Caution's out.
Matt, what do you know?
Bill, under further review, the 16 is now going to take the car back to the garage. At first, they were going to do that, and then he said he didn't think he was having any issues with the radiator, and then when they pulled it in, they could see the damage, the water leaking. He is back to the garage, and you heard him say in our countdown to green, today was an important race. He had changed his target because of where he sat in the points and where he was sitting on the grid. Tough break for the Biff.
We'll pick it up. The caution is for debris. Pick up the replay just a little bit late.
Well, he gets the inside guardrail. Someone ran the back of him and turned him into the inside guardrail.
Yeah, you can see the damage on the left rear. Watch. Yeah, somebody's going to get in his left rear.
That's on board with Kyle Petty.
Looks to me, Benny, like a lot of these guys are, I don't know what their deal is on the brakes, but it looks like they go to hit the brakes and they're either going in way too deep and the car's not slowing down, or they just have some brake issues.
Kyle Busch, once again, is the lucky dog. Kurt Busch is the race leader. We're under caution at Watkins Glen with 46 to go. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from Watkins Glen is brought to you by Team Chevy and the 2006 Monte Carlo SS, now with a legendary small block V8 and American Revolution. By UPS, proud sponsor of Dale Jarrett's 88 Ford. Go, Dale, go. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. And by McDonald's. BP?
It's time.
Can you do it?
Folks in the truck, please cue the duck.
Time for our Aflac trivia question. Who was the first driver to win 3 straight races at Watkins Glen?
Ricky Rudd or Rusty Wallace?
I think Mark Martin.
Mark Martin? Okay. Ah, you were correct.
But it was almost only 2 in a row, wasn't it, Wally?
It was almost 2. Some of us believe it was still 2. Bill Davis and I, anyway.
Our Aflac trivia question. Still working caution here at Watkins Glen. Cleanup continues.
Halfway.
Casey Kane on pit road. Alan, got some work down there, huh?
Yeah, we've got a little strategizing going on here, Bill. This is Kenny Francis, the team director for Casey Kane and Ray Evernham's team, calling Kane in. They're going to change tires here, make their chassis adjustments, fill the car with fuel. Then as soon as their pit window opens after the restart, they're going to come in, top the car off with fuel under the green and go, and then stay out the rest of the race. They have to do something. They've fallen back to 17th in line. This one of the bubble teams for making the championship. They're trying to find a way to steal some positions at the finish of this thing.
And Alan, as you know, they could certainly use a break. In the last 6 races, he is ranked 27th in performance among the drivers in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Had a crushing finish to his race at Indianapolis 1 week ago. And you can see, after the fantastic last road course race, everybody was thinking, hey, Casey might contend for the championship. Next road course race, they're thinking, is he even going to make the chase? Right now, Casey Kane 11th in the championship standings, 45 points out of 10th.
But that was a great, great move by Kenny Francis. Matt?
Well, BP, not a good day like we touched on earlier for Greg Biffle. Now, they pulled the car back in the garage, and Biffle very calm on the radio in discussion with crew chief Doug Richard just about how severe the damage is to the front of the car, whether they got the radiator or they got some other chassis components. Right now, they're just trying to cut away the broken bits and pieces and try to get this car back out and earn whatever they can. But a tough blow for their championship's hope. This is a team that finished 2nd last year in the championship chase, had huge hopes this year, hoping to improve on that and score another championship for Jack Roush. But he started today 12th in points. It's going to be another hit.
6 wins last season, had a backup car in today's race after the crash earlier in the weekend. 24th at Pocono, that knocked him out of the top 10. 33rd last week at Indianapolis, and certainly not what he needed today. Greg Biffle currently scored 41st here at the Glen.
And Kyle Busch has made up 2 laps in the last 5 or so laps. He's been the lucky dog recipient twice.
And really, because they'll still be working on Biffle's car, he'll be the only guy looking for that lucky dog for a while. And talking about the last 6 races from Sonoma to Indianapolis, the #1 rated driver over the last 6 races, Kyle Busch. Scored more points, has the win, 4 top 10s. And now trying to make up some ground here at the Glen, currently 42nd. And that has dropped him back to 9th in the championship standings. You can see the lights are out on the pace vehicle. Guys are warming up their tires.
Trying to scrub that debris off those tires so the first corner they go into, those tires will stick.
Listen to this conversation just a few moments ago from the 2 team on restarts.
Hey, if we pit under green like we did earlier, we can do something to trick that 20 where we get him on your outside through there and we can leave him out so we can get the separation. We about had him earlier, but he dove in there. Yeah, he's a smart fella. Yeah, 10-4, yeah, he caught right onto that deal. He dove right in.
Now, that wasn't about restarts. That was about trying to fool him when you're coming on pit road. Everybody looks pretty tight. Here we go, Wally.
These guys in the back are doing it. Casey Mears, he's underneath. Ryan Newman, looks like he's going to take that spot away.
now behind Gordon. Jeff Burton.
But trust me, these restarts will get a little bit more aggressive the further we get into the race.
And like you said, we're just halfway.
Yep.
Watch Ryan Newman.
He wants it back, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He's going to try to outbreak that 42 car.
Oh, that's close.
And in front of that, Robbie Gordon was flying through that inner loop again.
He gets through there pretty good. About a lap or so after the restart, he seems like he can hang with Stewart, but then they start to pull away.
There's Robbie running third, behind Stewart and Kurt Busch.
See if he can hang on to him a little bit here for a couple laps.
Kenny Strader just made his second pit stop, but he still has 45 laps to go.
Yeah.
I just don't think he can run that full tank of fuel.
Well, Kurt Busch leads. Let's take you through the field. We'll start with the 2 car, and here's Alan.
And the leader, Kurt Busch, who has been well out in front for much of this race, Bill, only shuffled back by some pit stops and other people on different pit schedules. Kurt talking about earlier this weekend with me, trying to balance that difficult thing between racing for the win and racing to get into the championship.
Nice solid finishes is all we need, and I think we've done that the last 7 out of 8 races, 12th being one of the times we were out of the top 10, and then Loudon we ended up getting spun and wrecked. You know, those things happen, no problem, but man, we're still hanging out right in 12th spot. But what's happening is the guys 7th through 10th are getting a little closer to us, even though we still are away from 10th. Those guys, if they have a problem, now there's not just one guy, there's 4 guys that are right there on the cusp.
Kurt using Matt Kenseth's charge into the chase last year as some inspiration. Feels like they've got some good cars for these next several races coming up. Tony Stewart feels Kurt Busch's car here at Watkins Glen today is good. Tony and his crew chief Greg Zipadelli talking under the last couple of cautions. Tony evaluating how to make his car better on the one final remaining pit stop coming up so he can maybe overtake that 2 for the win. Robbie Gordon doing much the same thing. He and his crew chief Greg Irwin talking recently about making adjustments on the final pit stop. Greg told him what he had in mind, and Robbie said, I need more to be able to win. Matt?
When Jeff Gordon began this season, they felt like they needed to improve their road course program. It slipped a little bit. Gordon 9 times a winner on the road courses. He won back at the Infiniti Raceway. Right now, he runs 4th. This is the car is about 10% better, but it's horrible on the right-handers. They need to really work on that on the next stop, Marty.
Well, Matt, for Casey Mears in the 5th position, he said he has one problem on the racetrack. It's turn 5, the long sweeping right-hander. He said through there, it feels like the car just has no front grips. He turned off the rear fans to the car because the rear tires were just chattering too much. Right there is where Casey has that tight condition, Matt.
Ryan Newman would love to get up there and battle with his teammate Kurt Busch in the 2 and try to solidify an all-Penske weekend here at Watkins Glen. He says the car is much better through the S's. It's a little bit tight down in turn 2, but he can deal with it, Marty.
Matt, so far Sunday going much better for Denny Hamlin than Saturday did. In practice yesterday, the first practice, they lost the transmission. In the second practice, he had a little off-course excursion. Today, everything on the blacktop, and so far, the 11 car very, very fast, Alan.
And let's talk Jimmy Johnson, the championship leader who's running in the 8th position right now. He started up in 5th. Jimmy, coming into this weekend, thought that he needed to improve as a driver on a road course. He said it's kind of hard to understand how I can be outdriven by a couple of these guys, but I'm working hard to be better than them, or at least as good as they are here on a road course. Marty?
Alan, in this exact part of the race course, David Sremi is the man spotting for his normal ride. The 40 car today driven by Scott Pruitt. He's clearing him left, clearing him right. So far, Scott says the car at the beginning of the run just plows. No front grip at all. The car extremely tight, but the longer they go, the better that race car gets. Behind him, Kevin Harvick, the man tied for 4th in the championship standings. His car is tight both in right and left-handers. Bigger concern maybe is the water temperature. Right now, 235 for the 29 car. They're going to pull off a piece of tape on their next stop. Dave?
Brian Vickers pitted under green at lap 22. Car's still a little bit tight now, a little bit loose off the corners, but he restarted 13th. He's passed 2 cars since that time. The 07 of Clinton Boyer, they pitted under green under lap 20. The car was loose. It said it needed some grip, but they've been able to work through their problems today. Actually, it was running hot earlier from contact on lap 1. That condition has been corrected. Marty?
Dave, into the last caution, Jeff Burton came on the radio and said, man, we are chattering the front tires on this thing. And he also has a brake issue he's a little concerned about. Said he doesn't want to go full pedal with the brakes, because when he does go full pedal, so that makes that car chatter even worse, and the rear wheels hop. Alan?
10 positions gained in the race so far for Jamie McMurray in the Roush 26. He started in 24th position. You see he's running in 14th. This team had 2 potential top 10 finishes slip away in the last 2 races, Indianapolis and Pocono, by problems on pit stops. They'll look to get this last one right in a few more laps. Dave?
Alan, I spoke with Matt Kenseth's crew chief this morning. That's Robbie Reiser, and he told me, I don't know a lot. I don't know. Well, I don't know. And it appears they do know what they're doing today. He started 30th. He's cut his deficit in half, currently running 15th. One car of Martin Truex Jr. is running right behind him, having a pretty good day. This is the same road course car they took to Sonoma. Martin's been keeping it on the black all day long.
And driver 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr., his best finish here in Nextel Cup, a third in 2003, but he has a Busch win. Now, Jr. says the car has been going back and forth balance-wise. It's tight everywhere on new tires, but the car is loose, especially in that whatever turn that final turn is closest to you guys out on pit road. It's not good there.
That'd be 7, man.
7.
And Matt fades away. Those are the top 17. Ron Fellows 18th, and Joe Nemechek is running 19th. There are currently 40 cars scored on the lead lap here at the Glen, and the race leader continues to be Kurt Busch. Came in 174 points out of 10th, but a year ago, Matt Kenseth was 168 behind 10th at this point, and Matt made the chase for the championship. There's Kenseth, former series champion, Junior right behind him.
Got Ron Fellows there in the 32 car.
Here are the championship standings as they run with 39 to go here at the Glen.
And check out Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
Gained 2 spots today with his run so far.
5th in points.
Amazing.
Gordon up to 6th. Kyle Busch.
You know, you have one bad race in these stretches, and you see a lot of that. The -4s or the -2s or +4s, just because these guys are so tight back here right now.
4 races to go before the cutoff after today. They go to Michigan next week. It's Pruitt working on the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson right there. Those top 3 cars are strong.
Yeah, gone. And, you know, Robbie Gordon has been able to hang a little bit better this time around with the 2 car of Kurt Busch and 20 of Tony Stewart.
Marty on Scott Pruitt.
Yeah, Scott says the car, this is really the part of the run where the car gets very good for Scott. He told me that objective today is a little different. Normally he comes here in a one-off car, but he's racing for a team that's trying to stay in the top 35 in championship standings. So he said, our goal, be conservative today. Just get home with a top 15 finish. We can get a top 10 out of it, great. But he's got an awfully good car, especially at the end of these runs.
And Marty, Scott Pruitt told us earlier in the weekend, this road course racing is fun to do, but hard to learn.
It's a real different animal to deal with. Now, if you look at a lot of these guys are very talented. I mean, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon. I mean, those guys are road racers. I mean, they have road racing in their background. But if you're looking at, you know, pure guys like Stremme, for instance, perfect example. You know, he hasn't had any road course experience, and getting a feel for the whole thing is, you know, I wouldn't say it's daunting, but it just takes time. It's like taking a road racer and putting him on Darlington. You know, you want to overdrive the car and get sideways and overdrive the racetrack continually, where the guys who know the place and do it week in and week out, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, piece of cake. Strategy starting to play out. The race is underway on pit road, Marty.
Well, Bill, here we go. These could be the final stops of the day. Jeff Burton's car actually spitting out a little bit of water. He said his car was a little too tight and really no overall grip, so they go down all the way around on air pressure. His teammate Kevin Harvick pitting further down pit road. He too tight, also an air pressure adjustment for Kevin Harvick. Probably the final stops of the day for these RCR cars.
Oh, Joe Nemechek into the tire barrier.
What a fabulous strategy for these guys.
Yeah.
They make a pit stop, and now they get to make up the entire distance they spent on pit road.
Yep. That's what we talked about, you know, there's all these different strategies, but you've got to be lucky. And these guys that just came down pit lane are lucky.
Kurt Busch is on pit lane. Did he get on pit road and pit lane quickly enough?
I don't know. That's going to be real close.
Heading all the way down toward pit exit. Allen.
Well, that'll be the whole debate, won't it? If he didn't get on pit road before it was closed, then it's going to be a problem. But if he did, it's a great call. Roy McCauley saw that car spin on the big Jumbotron monitor right across from his pit box and immediately jumped on the radio, called for Kurt to come to pit road. It's a 4-tire change for this 2-car. Now we'll just see if they are clear of the rules or if they ran a foul. No, looks like they ran a foul.
That hurts. This happened to Jeff Gordon here.
Hit it again, Chris. Hit it again. We got time.
In this race a year ago. Hit it again as with the fuel can.
It wasn't the NASCAR official that was holding him. They were holding themselves to get debris off the grill or something, wasn't it? Alan?
Benny, what they were looking at, the light that signals the stop and go paddle at the end of pit road was red because the field hadn't cleared yet and the caution was out. When cars pit under the caution flag, they're held at the end of pit road until the last of the field clears, and then they rejoin at the tail end. So that red light was on at the end of pit road to allow the tail of the field to clear and make sure that Kurt and the other cars on pit road rejoined at the tail. Now you see Roy McCauley in the discussion with the NASCAR officials, trying to get clarification on where they stand as far as coming on to pit road.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what does the tie go to?
Yeah, the runner.
This is identical to what happened to Gordon a year ago. Kyle Busch is the lucky dog. Let's work that in. Looking on the right side.
And the light, the official is there. Oh, the red light is on.
Wait a minute.
Whoa, how close is
you're
that?
You're committed there.
I mean, you back it up.
You're cool, Bob.
Watch the front of the car right there. Okay, I don't think he's at the line yet. You see the light right there.
Oh, man. That is so. Pitted too soon is the official call, I'm told. Oh, man. Oh, man. Just a few feet.
May not have been that much.
I wouldn't even say a few feet.
No. Now, Joe Nemechek in the tire barrier brought out the caution. Let's go back and sort that out.
Well, we've seen a lot of contact back here today, and that's exactly what happened. Joe Nemechek got run into. Could not tell who that was behind him. But that inner loop is barely big enough for one car, you know, and we've seen a lot of guys going there side by side. Now this time somebody just got into the back of Joe's bumper and turned him.
So Tony Stewart is the race leader.
Tony Stewart, Robbie Gordon, all these guys, and they can make their pit stop under the yellow. But what's going to happen is they've got to restart behind all the fellas that stopped earlier. Matt?
And Matt Moreland reminded Ryan Newman exactly where he was pitting. He says, you don't have to remind me. I remember the last time. Small air pressure adjustment. Newman's car, really good, he says. Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind him. His car needed some big time help, Marty.
Casey Mears in that 42 car, bottom of your screen, hits pit road, running forward, so they couldn't pit earlier because they were worried about a green-white checker like we had yesterday in the Busch Series race. No changes to the chassis, Alan.
And a 4-tire change for Tony Stewart. And some chassis adjustments you see there being made with the wrench in the left rear of the car. He's got to swing around Casey Kane to get off pit road. Get out ahead of him.
A lot of traffic. Something you don't really see that often on a road course.
A lot of congestion, but everybody takes it easy exiting, gets clean.
Let's take a look at the race off of pit road. Kurt Busch will have to restart at the tail end of the longest line for pitting too soon. Carl Edwards.
Newman beat Stewart off the pit lane.
And we see Mark Martin in the 6 car up there. So evidently the 99 and 6 pulling some strategy.
How about those pit crew guys, BP?
Oh, man. Brian Chase, the jackman on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. Left side, he follows Tony Eury Jr. around, gets that left side jacked up, watches the left, the right, left, right, it's all done. Go.
Back to green flag racing, reached Sorensen is scored as the race leader. Kurt Busch claimed he was having radio trouble, restarted second. NASCAR started to pull out the black flag. Busch pulled over in turn 1 to let the field go by. He had to restart at the tail end of the longest line for pitting too soon.
They're going to give it to us. Go.
That's his crew chief, Roy McCauley, saying you're okay. Alan, what do you got?
A little bit of confusion here as to what it is they're telling him. I think Roy's confused. What NASCAR is telling him is that he's not going to be black flagged because he was dropping to the end of the field and giving up that spot. Roy was trying to talk to Kurt from pit road right in front of the NASCAR officials, and there was nothing coming over the two teams' radio. So they were having trouble, and that's what got them right up against that restart without Kurt getting the message to go to the back of the field.
And that's because they lobbied very hard against the penalty, Alan.
Oh, absolutely, they lobbied hard against it. They were right up against that line, and at that point, you know, how much choice did he have but to come down pit road? Could he really turn back out onto the racetrack right then?
No, without a doubt he could not. I want to show you one other angle of Kurt Busch coming to pit road.
They're wrong, but I can't do anything about it.
Here he comes off of turn 7, headed for pit road. Your mission: get there as quick as you can.
Okay, watch to this left. You'll see the lights right coming to the corner right there. See the lights? They're red already, and that's the biggest thing right there. That you can't come down pit lane if those lights are red. And the problem is it's so close. I mean, like you say, once you're there, you're already committed. But unfortunately, NASCAR was right on that one, and that hurts. That hurts having to go to the back.
But there's no way in the world that Kurt could have gone back on the racetrack.
That's what I'm saying. You're
once that
already
light came
committed,
on.
so they need to change that around for next time. But
Kevin Harvick on and off of pit road.
Has taken the lead from Reed Sorensen.
Saw him there go around Reed Sorensen, but Marty was working on a story down there on Harvick and fuel. Marty, you down there?
Hey guys, when the 29 car left pit road, the vent tube, which holds the fuel in the fuel cell where they put the fuel in, when the fuel filler neck was open, and it popped back into place as they left pit road. The concern, though, is they lost about half a gallon of fuel in the 29 car. And when you're racing to the end on fuel mileage, you need every ounce you can get. So they think they have enough, but the green-white checker, now that may be a question.
Wait a minute, Marty. I thought I saw some fuel coming out of that car in the S's.
And it may not be shut. It may not be shut. They asked us to get a shot of it, but it looked shut when we showed a shot of it during commercial. So they thought they had it fixed, but it may not be the case.
Oh!
Looks like Mark.
Yep.
Gosens again.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, I'm fine. What's the wheel coming up the S's here?
Full course yellow. His first NASCAR Nextel Cup start.
That's in the S's, I believe.
That's coming off turn 7 there, and that's a brake hose, a blower off of some car. Well, we just saw that black thing.
You're right, in the S's. So under caution again, Greg Biffle returns to the track. Biffle currently scored 43rd, 16 laps down in the AMD at the Glen. Coming to Watkins Glen for a number of years, long time now, and this is one of the most beautiful weekends we've ever had here. Weather has been spectacular, and the people up here, they've always treated us great. Now, it's not treating Kevin Harvick very good right now. Watch this.
Been a little moisture in the air over here in the S's, and that would be fuel coming out. As Marty reported, you can see the fuel coming out of the overflow there, and he's losing a lot of fuel right there, BP.
There's simply a little flapper valve in that vent tube that when they leave pit road is supposed to go shut, so it keeps the fuel in the tank. Not happening.
And that's uphill. You can see the issue there. Marty?
See how concerned the 29 team is. How worried are you about losing that fuel, Todd?
Well, if we could calculate how much we lost.
Can you get out there and catch all that?
Yeah, or can plug it off. Honestly, we're 3 gallons to the good, so according to how much we lose as to how, you know, how much we're going to have. But obviously, we keep having these cautions every 3 laps like we have for the whole race, then we're going to be really to the good. But, you know, it's just a gamble on how much we've lost at this point.
Is there really anything Kevin can do to make that not happen? Nothing he can do, is there?
Nothing. I mean, as it burns off, you know, it's going to go away. On the restart, we reminded him, and I mean, obviously, just not to jerk it around, swerve it around as much as he can under caution, but racing is racing. He's got to go as hard as he can go. So, obviously, it's just cross our fingers and hope from this point on.
They've played the race perfectly thus far. Now they just have to hope for some more caution laps.
Thanks, Marty. We'll be watching that on the restart as well. Take a look at our Craftsman pit summary.
This is going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart comes out 14th, Gordon 17th, Newman 13th, and Kyle Busch about 38th.
And other guys use different pit strategy. Mark Martin is scored 17th, didn't take tires. And some other guys use different strategy to try and make up ground as well.
The 99 car, I believe, Carl Edwards might have just fuel only.
Kurt Busch sitting in the 37th position.
Had to restart at the tail end of the field after coming down pit road when it was closed, and he's an emotional kind of guy.
Kurt, I don't know what to say, man. I'm doing all I can. I'm about in tears here. I mean, we were already committed to the pit anyway that lap. We were coming in. I don't understand either, man. You would hit the barrel. Crazy. I'm arguing the case. I'm sorry, Kurt. I think I'm upset now. I wasn't before. Don't worry, I got that part covered, believe me.
Got to try and keep your driver calm down, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to keep him calm down or not. He's pretty mad right now. Sometimes you do your best driving when you're mad.
Roy McCauley got Kurt to victory lane here yesterday. Take a look at the results of our singular race talk question. Will one of the guys, the 5 former winners in the field today, repeat?
Doesn't get too much closer than that.
No, it sure doesn't. Those are the 5 previous winners here at Watkins Glen. Right now, Kevin Harvick, the race leader. McMurray, Sorensen, Riggs, Elliott Sadler, the top 5.
I guess the first previous winner is Tony Stewart in 10th spot.
And he's had a pretty decent car today.
Oh, he's had a really good car.
Very fast.
And he's got 30 laps, so if he passes 1 car per lap, he's still looking really well.
He's got Boris Said right in front of him back there. Here's on board with Boris. Saw the Said heads here at the track this morning, about 400 strong. Rooting for Boris here at the Glen. So Harvick's the race leader. We'll watch him take the green flag. And then we'll see him go up through the S's and see if he's spilling anything.
That was a lot of fuel they were dumping for sure. See if that continues.
Longer haul out of turn 7 to the start finish line. Green flag in the air. Watch him fan out going to 1. Jeff Gordon.
Now, McMurray's got a great restart. Harvick went down there to block because he figured McMurray was going to try to outbrake him.
Oh, they're 2-3 wide back there.
Rader and Riggs.
Holy mackerel, 4 wide. This may not work.
Robbie Gordon makes it work for him.
See the fuel again spilling out of Harvick.
Just dumping out that 29 car.
Tony Stewart making a run on Boris Said. And the 26 car almost had the lead in the inner loop.
Oh, big crash. Joe Nemechek is in it.
Sterling Marlin.
Scott Wimmer.
Brian Seymour in 34.
And you could almost feel that coming.
You
looking
really
back
could.
at turn 1.
When you look back and saw those guys 3 and 4 wide, it just does not work through the S's.
And this will tie the record for the most caution flags here at Watkins Glen, set in 1988. Wow. Our 8th caution flag of the race. And Kyle Busch was the lucky dog, and he was really lucky there. And we'll find out, but he might be the lucky dog again under caution at the Glen. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing from Watkins Glen is brought to you by Nextel, only from Sprint. Get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel. By Burger King, who remind you to have it your way. By Best Buy, thousands of possibilities. Get yours. And by Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Under our 8th caution period of the day here at Watkins Glen, and this is a biggie. You can see a couple of cars still sitting there. And look at those names. They include Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth. Kenseth currently 2nd in the championship standings. Busch 14th, trying to race his way into the chase. Now let's look at this again a couple of times. Here's the one angle we saw earlier.
And the 22 car is the first one we're basically going to see out of control.
And the 17 is in him, and the 14 is in the 17, and I'm not sure who was in the 14, but it just looked like it started like 5 or 6 cars back. People started jacking each other up.
And now watch, you'll see Kurt Busch come and get a piece of this too. There he is up there, just trying to sneak by. And Kenseth had a slow pit stop earlier in the race, as Dave Burns was pointing out, and that put him back there. And Busch was back there because he had to start at the tail end of the field because he pitted too soon. More on Busch from Allen.
Well, he's been here for quite a while now, Bill, but the luxury of the long, slow caution flag laps here allowed Roy McCauley's team to pull all of the sheet metal away from both of the front tires, straighten out the front grille, check the alignment of the front suspension, and change tires and top off the gasoline. You see Kurt trying to feel it out now as he's back out on the racetrack. Dave?
Alan, when the 17 pitted on lap 54 under caution, they had a long pit stop because they were putting spring rubbers out of the rear of the car to give it more grip. Then they got blocked in their pit stall. They came in 15th. They went out 35th. That's what put them back there. And then this mess. Now, Matt has reported that the radiator should be fine. The temperatures were good. They just had some damage. They had to pull away from every corner of that car so the tires would not deflate.
Well, the 2 car might have luxury of long yellow here, but it's not going to matter. That car is done for the day as far as being competitive. Without that right front fender, there's a lot of stuff missing up there. He doesn't have the same race car he had before the wreck.
Kurt started from the pole yesterday and won, and started from the pole today. But as Wally said, things don't look too good right now. He's headed back to his pit stall. Time to take a look at today's DLP Technology Race recap. 43 cars, 43 teams, all on pit road, ready to go here at the Glen. Green flag comes out, and the racing started very early.
And the wrecking almost started early. Casey Kane just goes way too deep. Gets in the back of Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch slides up, gets back in the line.
Little nudge just on the opening.
And I think all Casey was doing is we was worried about the 12, trying to block him, and forgot to put the brake pedal. And we had Elliott Sadler gets turned, goes in the kitty litter, as BP likes to say.
On board with Terry Labonte.
Kyle Busch has a track bar they think broke in the rear of the car.
Lap 34.
As Boer said, got tagged.
Yep.
They wound up both spinning, but they both continued.
Lap 43.
43. Kyle Petty gets into the back of Biffle, going into the inner loop. Biffle hard into the guardrail.
And then back to the garage. Joe Nemechek got spun out of the inner loop.
2 car goes to pit lane.
Only
Go ahead.
The pits were closed. You can see the light is on. Now, if Kurt Busch had gone straight through the pits and had not stopped and blended back in, there would not have been a penalty. He had to restart at the tail end of the field, and he and Matt Kenseth both got a piece of this.
But I don't think they knew they broke any laws when they came in and pitted. They didn't get the confirmation until the car was gone out of the pits.
Mm-hmm. But you have to put yourself in a position to know that.
Driver's going to put him in a position to say it was green when you're coming in.
Or a spotter,
no matter what.
or a spotter to watch. The exact same thing as we've talked about happened to Gordon last year.
Yeah.
Almost, in the exact same location.
the problem is, like you say, Bill, whatever the reason, I mean, it puts you back in traffic, and on these restarts, it could take you out of contention, and it did. It just took Kurt Busch out of contention to win this race, and he had a car to win it.
Our Napa Field summary, and of course, Kurt trying to get in to the chase, and this will not help his chances at all. Currently 14th in the championship standings. Continue to work cleanup here at Watkins Glen for our 8th caution of the day. 26 to go in the AMD at the Glen. Here are the championship standings as they run here at the Glen with 25 laps to go and 4 races after today before the cutoff and the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship begins. Tony Stewart picking up a couple of spots. Denny Hamlin's been up and down throughout the day. Kyle Busch in that 6th spot. And Earnhardt Jr. to 10th.
Real close, you can see from 10th to 11th right there.
Yeah, but and now the guys 12 on back really starting to lose some big ground.
With just 4 races to go, it looks like it's going to be a real struggle for Biffle and Edwards.
Okay, now let's watch Kurt Busch coming to pit road. Real speed. You see his crew working on the damage. Here he is before when the caution came out.
See him coming in green, 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 red. He does not have enough time to turn that car to the left and miss the pit lane.
But if he keeps going through, there's no penalty.
I know, but Bill, he thinks it's green. So unless NASCAR says, hey, you went through a red light before you get to your pit stall, you're going to come in and you're going to pit.
That's like the official telling you to pull up right after the quarterback throws and you deliver a late hit. You're on your own at that point. You got to make your own decision. More on Matt Kenseth's problems from Dave.
They've about got it fixed to the point that it will run around the track and not cut the tires, they think. And this will be a blow to their championship standings. We saw him just in the points a few moments ago. Talking to Robbie Reiser this morning, he said, I'm in the mood to gamble today, almost like they had one race to give away. Well, they've given it away in another way today, unfortunately. And Matt will tool around for the rest of the day trying to hold his position. By the way, guys, if there's another caution for debris, it might be off the 17, but these guys have done a good job getting him back on the racetrack.
There's one ugly car right there right now.
Talking to his crew here over the weekend, as you see Kurt Busch leaving as well. They liked it last year when it rained and they only got 5 laps of practice. They said they were in a better situation there. Just having some fun with the driver. Allen on Kurt's problems.
Yeah, you see that right front fender on the 2 car. Bill, they have tried to rebuild the fender piece to give Kurt some downforce. They were just this last pit stop putting some bracing in behind it. They've also checked to make sure their brake ducts were still getting air to the brakes on the front of the car. Obviously, the design is to give Kurt what they can to charge as hard as he can. Think about all the points that they've lost in this last half hour or so. They need to try and make some of them up before the end of this race.
Hey, Alan, how's the old 2 radio right about now?
Well, it's been focused the last little while. The emotion's pretty much out of it, and they've been trying to focus on getting the car rebuilt to where they can compete. They've been trying to get the front end back in line. Kurt told them to put another set of tires on. He ran over some debris out on the racetrack. They've really been focused on trying to get the car back together. Now it's in Kurt's hands from here to the finish.
All right, we'll be watching. Lights are out on the pace car, ready to go back to green.
I just saw a jet dryer out there.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know you're having a bad day when you're behind the jet dryer. Kevin Harvick is the race leader, but Jamie McMurray has really been pushing him the last few laps, and we'll watch for fuel out the back of the 29 car. But remember, they bunched up on the last restart. Here we go again.
Harvick again with the block. Keep the spot.
Watch behind him here.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. Jeff Gordon
around. And I don't think there's going to be a caution flag because of that. So now Jeff Gordon, even Kurt Busch is in front of Jeff now.
And I think Jeff got tagged there on that deal.
And we see Jamie McMurray once again trying to get by on the outside.
I tell you what, that's the hard way to do it, but that's all Harvick has given him is the outside. Every time Harvick comes down into a passing zone, he pulls down to the inside. So he figures if McMurray is going to pull it off, he's going to have to do it on the outside.
And Tony Stewart has moved into the 5th spot. What about Jamie, Allen?
There we go. And how he got up to 2nd place, BP. They pitted under the green at lap 56. Remember, I talked at the very top of the broadcast about if there were some way you could predict when the cautions were going to come out. They caught it just right. They pitted under green at lap 53. The caution came out. It got them up to second place by staying out under the yellow when everybody else pitted. Marty?
Alan, if you'll notice last time, Kevin Harvick, when he went up to the S's, did not lose fuel, at least from what we could see. And it takes Harvick a little while to get going. Remember, he cannot scrub off his tires under caution. Like you see the cars weave back and forth, cleaning off their tires. Harvick cannot do that. Now, in terms of the fuel, when they left pit road, they were 4 gallons to the good, meaning they had 4 more gallons than they needed to finish this race. Question is, have they already lost 4 gallons, or they've lost less than that? And we won't know that until the end of the race.
There's Tony Stewart taking a spot from Sadler. Again, McMurray looks underneath Harvick, but ooh, wow, that's close. I think Stewart is going to be challenging for the lead here in a few laps.
More than 130 races since Jamie McMurray won at Charlotte. His only victory in the Nextel Cup Series.
How about Elliott Sadler? We saw him in the kitty litter earlier today. And here he is. Ooh, Tony going for second.
We'll watch this race up front. Get more on Sadler from Marty.
Yeah, Bill, it seems like a week ago when Elliott Sadler brought out the very first caution of the day, doesn't it, when he was in the sand trap. A little strategy got them to the front. Lap 45, they pitted for 4 tires and fuel. Then on lap 52, fuel only. They're done pitting for the day, and they have a car that's running in the top 5. Fairly good, even though he found his way to the sand trap, much like you do on many occasions, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. I appreciate you pointing that out.
It looks like McMurray got a little bit offline there, getting up the S's. So we'll see if Stewart can close in on him and make that pass going in the interloop.
What's happening? Jamie McMurray is watching his mirror now. His rearview mirror, watching that 20 car and not concentrating on the road enough.
Tell you what, though, Jamie is getting into the corners good. He's got a lot of brakes in his car right now. But I think you're right, Benny. I think he's starting to look up, figure out where Stewart is and where he's going to go when they get down in the braking zones. And when you do that, you lose the leader.
Been a disappointing season for McMurray, his first year with Roush after making the move from Ganassi Racing. Finished 37th in the Daytona 500, 23rd at Vegas. He's 35th at Bristol, 37th at Texas. There's Jeff Gordon trying to get some spots back.
Did he lose that many spots? Take a look at what happened going down into the corner.
On board with Michael Waltrip.
Looks like Martin got into it.
In front of you, see him.
Just one of those deals. Everybody's jamming down there into the corner on the restart. Not enough room.
The field goes racing by. Tony got around Jamie McMurray into second and now sets its sights on Harvick.
Stewart's definitely got the fastest car right now.
More on Tony Stewart from Allen.
Bill, you have some experience monitoring Tony Stewart's pit, right?
Oh, yes.
What does Tony say when things are going well?
Not much.
Nothing at all in this last stretch of the race. Tony said earlier, when Greg Zipadelli was asking him about his race car, Tony came back and said, it's all right. And that was it. So here we go.
But he can be very entertaining to listen to.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he can. But not today. This has been a very low-key day on the radio for Tony. Very businesslike, especially now that he's trying to get by Kevin Harvick and see if he can get this win.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin Harvick has a pretty good race car. Last time by, he was a 1/10 of a second faster than Tony Stewart.
And of course, Stewart going for his 3rd straight win here at Watkins Glen. We talked earlier in the race about Mark Martin winning 3 in a row here. Tony trying to do the 3-peat at the Glen. And trying to improve his position in the championship standings as well. Stewart's chasing Kevin Harvick, and Marty is in Kevin's pit.
And Bill, you can imagine all the things Harvick's trying to do inside that race car. Watch the 20 car behind him. Make sure he's not losing too much fuel. One interesting thing that just came on the radio, they thought, don't use as much brake in the left-hand turns, because that's when he's losing all the fuel, because that's where that fuel filler nozzle is, right behind that Goodwrench word. At the beginning of that Goodwrench word is where that fuel filler nozzle is. So in the left-hand turns, use less brake. In theory, that should make less fuel spill out of the race car. Also, as always, the less brake you use, the better fuel mileage you get.
That's a great theory, but it's not being used, trust me, Marty. You got to use all the brake you can right now if you're going to stay in front of Tony Stewart going down in these corners. So don't think he's worried about the fuel thing right now. He's just got to go. Nothing he can do about it, really, unless he wants to give up the lead.
Mark has the 3 in a row here.
Now that last lap, Tony Stewart gained a 10th on Kevin Harvick.
Jeff Gordon also has.
Wow, he gained a lot right there. He just closed in 2 car lengths under braking.
Well, it's a left-hand turn, Harvick.
Oh, that's right. He's using less brake
to save fuel.
About that.
See if we can't find where Kurt Busch might be.
Currently in the 25th position.
Guys got to do a lot of work on that car. Started from the pole. Got tangled up in that mess in the S's. You want to talk about somebody that's determined. Restarted 33rd on lap 67.
Oh, Kyle Busch. Trying to get underneath Martin, and that was a pretty brave move right there. Couldn't pull it off, though.
Might try again.
Wow, he is. Going for it, Marty.
Yeah, he is, Wally. As things went bad for one Busch brother, they got really good for the other Busch brother, Kyle Busch. Get this, has received 5 consecutive lucky dogs. And yes, after breaking the rear track bar mount, he is back on the lead lap. And I tell you what, the car's awfully fast. Problem is, you're going to have the track position to show it, Alan.
Only comments from Kurt Busch, the big brother, on the radio since the restart. A little concern about making sure that his brakes and the brake cooling was put back in place under the repairs. Other than that, not much. Just concentrating on trying to pass as many of these cars as he can.
The 5 car looks a little bit like Kevin Harvick did at the beginning of the race when the fender's rubbing the tire.
Oh, he gets turned, tagged anyway by Earnhardt. We'll check up at the on the 55 a little bit. I think Earnhardt just waving out the window going, sorry about that.
One of those racing deals.
Well, you know, I saw Kyle put his hand out, but I also saw Earnhardt wave. I don't think he meant to do that.
They go around Michael Waltrip.
The 5 really had to check up on Michael, and I think that's what happened.
Made a nice save.
Yeah, he did. Jeff Gordon working on the outside of Boyer. Oh, there goes Earnhardt. Wow.
Just barely touches the barrier.
Man, that thing had a lot of front brake in it.
But will it start? That's the key now. And so far, the answer is no.
There it goes.
Earnhardt gets it refired.
He's got it running, guys. He's going. 17 laps to go, Dale Jr.
He's got it too hot.
Yeah, that thing but look at it, BP's got the fronts are locked and the rears are actually rolling. Like he's just got a lot of front brake in that thing, and kind of weird.
That was strange.
It just looked like the rears were rolling a lot too, really easy compared to the fronts being locked up.
Junior continues. And he's got a lot of ground to make up. Harvick trying to stretch it out over Tony Stewart. Talk about Tony winning the last 2 here, and Mark getting his 3 consecutive wins in 93, 94, and 95. Jeff Gordon has 4 wins here. His 3 straight came 97, 98, and 99. Kevin Harvick, just part of the Richard Childress family. They've made great strides in recent years, and now Harvick wants to get himself locked into that chase and make a run at a Nextel Cup championship. He leads at the Glen. Kevin Harvick leads Tony Stewart here at Watkins Glen. Come to the line, 13 laps to go this time. Hey, Benny?
Yes.
Would you do me a favor?
What, you need to cue the duck one more time?
One more time, please.
In the truck, please cue the duck.
Play a little extra trivia with our Aflac trivia question. Who holds the record for the most consecutive top 5 finishes at Watkins Glen?
Tony Stewart. Answer is
6 car.
Mark. Wow. 10 consecutive top 5.
Yeah, that's when he was really hot here at the Glen.
Hold on there.
Casey Mears is spun.
Come on. Hold on. Just get by. Get ready after this one. Nope. Right here. Go.
Oh, now he's spun again.
16.
That's down in turn 1 at the end of the front stretch.
He just got in there. Got in there pretty hot. Got in there too hot. Spun the car around. The tires are slippery right now. The brakes are hot and real hot on some cars. So. Trying to get that thing fired up for the leaders.
And here come the leaders.
He's still sitting there.
That thing won't start. Caution.
That's what we're hearing.
Out.
Haven't seen it. It is out now.
Caution is out.
And this really sets up something for 10 laps to go.
Now we're talking about a restart in the last 10 laps. You got Harvick and Stewart, McMurray there, Robbie Gordon, Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, Boris said, all these guys are ready to pounce. So all the yeah.
Race record for the 9th caution flag of the day.
I don't think Mr. Harvick wanted to see that.
No.
This is not what he wanted to see.
What's Robbie Gordon thinking right now?
Oh, he is licking his chops. Are you kidding me?
So it's Harvick, Stewart, Jamie McMurray, Robbie Gordon, and Ryan Newman, your top 5. Let's get a strategy update here, starting with Snyder.
Bill under the caution through the field, and Kevin Harvick's team is not too concerned about the fuel anymore. There's been no mention of it for quite a while. Kevin was asked about his position in the championship standings earlier this week. He said, we just cannot afford to make any mistakes. The teams who make the chase will be the ones who don't make any mistakes in the final 5 races. We're hoping the fuel holds out and they can hold on for a win at Watkins Glen. Alan?
2 laps ago, Tony Stewart called in under green to his crew chief Greg Zipadelli and said, keep me up on the laps. In other words, he wanted to know how many laps left in the race. He was told 14 to go. Tony Stewart trying to judge what he needs to do to get the win. Jamie McMurray having a great run. Best finish this season so far is a 2nd place run at Dover in June. He's running 3rd now. His crew chief Bob Osborne told me this morning he and Jamie getting together on the package, the feel Jamie McMurray likes in the race car, and the chassis settings they need to make them go. Robbie Gordon running 4th says that he needed this caution to help him get his car squared away for the finish. Cool things down, get squared away to go. He described it as a big problem, but the caution should help him have a shot at these guys in front of him. Matt?
AB, before the caution, Ryan Newman had just motored into the 5th position. He was 8.5 seconds from 1st. And Matt Borland just told him, like we've heard a lot of other crew chiefs talking, reminding the driver, the 7's there, the 26, the 20, some interesting things could take place. Be on your toes, but Newman was the fastest on the racetrack the last couple laps right before that caution. He just needed this brake, Bill, to have one more shot at a win here.
Good point, Matt. He restarted 14th on lap 67, now in the 5th spot. Big day of sports here on NBC. Got the racing going on now. And the NFL tonight. Sunday Night Football here on NBC. Alan John will have the call. The Redskins and the Bengals tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Sunday Night Football on NBC.
on board with Terry Labonte. He's 10 laps down. Really not too bad after changing transmission and rear gear.
Wow. This is going to be some restart. Or restarts.
Yes.
We may see more than one, yeah. Because you know Gordon's going to dive down in there.
At least he did yesterday.
He'll do it today. And you know, Tony Stewart knows the best opportunity he's going to have on Harvick is on these restarts. He said these guys just got to, they can't let the leader, I mean, obviously the leader's trying to make the best restart he can. That's what really won the race yesterday for Kurt Busch. But on the other hand, these guys, if they're going to try to beat this guy, they've got to be really on top of the game on the restarts.
Marty, you hanging out in the 29 pit?
Yeah, Bill, I'm hanging out down here. I bet Kevin Harvick is worried about that 20. Meanwhile, Todd Berrier's just about to go crazy down here. How are the nerves holding up?
They're all good. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, but you know, you got to feel bad. You know, you just got to kind of wonder what's going to happen and cross your fingers here and hope, because that's all we got to do right now at this point.
Are you just worried about turn 1 and the restart?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The restarts here, turn 1 and the bus stop back there both. I mean, we got to have a couple really good laps of getting in the corner there. I mean, lap for lap when we're in clean track there where it's good or better than Stewart, but obviously he's going to be able to get us in the braking zones if we don't brake as well as we need to. So right now we got to do that for a couple laps and then hope for the best.
Can they keep the 20 behind him? That's the question, Alan.
Tony Stewart's crew chief Greg Zipadelli. Greg, has your driver sized up Kevin Harvick any, and have you seen anything that gives you some hope you can get by him?
Well, the hope I have is we have Tony Stewart, and we're at Watkins Glen. We've got a pretty good track record here. 29 car looks really good. I think we missed it. I needed to adjust on a little more. It looks like it's a little bit tighter than it was yesterday. We were really, really good and happy with our car. We've been trying to free it up without getting the back end out of the racetrack. We haven't been terrible. We've been a second place car most of the day. You know, 2-car was awesome. But we'll keep our fingers crossed. So Home Depot Chevrolet, it knows its way to victory lane here, and we'll just count on Tony now.
That's probably not a bad plan.
Absolutely not.
All right, thanks, Greg. Matt?
AB, the yellows have helped and hurt the 12 team. You've had quite a day, Matt. Now your man is sitting there in 5th. What did you tell him on the radio about the restart, especially diving into turn 1?
Just to watch what happens with the 7 car there. He's probably one of the best there is at outbreaking people. So it'd be interesting to see if he puts a move on the leader, and could get pretty excited.
And this is the kind of run that this team needed at this part of the season.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's not over yet, so hopefully it shakes out good. But it's been good all day, and hopefully we can bring the Altel Dodge home and a good finish.
The Penske guys having a great weekend. In fact, Bill, before the Busch team won yesterday, Roger Penske's group hasn't won here at Watkins Glen until 1973, when Mark Donohue dominated everybody in that Sunoco Can-Am car.
Thanks, Matt. Some cars ducking onto pit road, including championship leader Jimmy Johnson, Alan.
Yeah, Bill, and I just got over here, but they were back in 25th place, and I don't think that there's a problem, though. I will double check on that, but really this is one of those, what have they got to lose by taking on fresh tires here? How far back are they going to fall?
Well, they'll come out probably around 35th, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can pass a lot of cars on fresh tires right now. And you could have a big yellow somewhere, too, so probably a good move.
Coming up next, the Manhattan Beach Open. The Manhattan Beach Open presented by Bud Light AVP Volleyball. Coming up next on NBC. Got the racing, the volleyball, then some football for you tonight. Let's get an update on the 8-car.
Dale Jr. Bill started the day 10th in the championship standings. Now, he came on the radio right before he just recently pitted, and he told the guys it is just wheel hopping terribly, and the fronts and rears at different times are locking up. So not a great day for Dale Jr. And by the way, if you're wondering about Jeff Gordon, all he said on the radio was, the car is a lot better, but the spin was partly my fault. AB?
And Matt, I did just talk to Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, and that is the call. They had nothing to lose at this point, but to come in, throw 4 tires on, and see how many cars they could pass in these last laps of the race.
And if we get a restart or 2 or 3 or 6,
yeah,
we'll have more opportunities to pass them.
As long as he's not in the wreck.
Yes.
Like what happened to Kurt Busch.
And believe it or not, Kurt Busch, even with that damage, has moved up to the 18th position.
Lights are out on the pace car. Get the green flag this time by. Kevin Harvick currently third in the championship standings, and Jeff Burton fourth, both hoping to make the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship, just showing the resurgence of Richard Childress Racing. A few years ago, those teams really struggling. Now they're both in the top 5 in the championship standings, and that's basically the model that Robert Yates Racing is going to try and use, I would imagine, to bounce back from the difficult times they've been through. This probably Elliott Sadler's last race for Yates Racing, and Robert and Doug Yates going to try and build that organization back up.
Just saw Robbie Gordon pointing. He had his left hand out the window and he was pointing over. I wasn't sure who he was doing that to.
About to find out, maybe. Pace car will head for pit road. Kevin Harvick will bring him down. Remember, NASCAR has warned the drivers to stay bunched up on the restarts. Do not lag back.
Oh, McMurray.
There's the green.
McMurray's got a pretty good run. Takes a look underneath Stewart. Oh, didn't have enough. Wow, that was close.
Well, boy, that helped Kevin Harvick.
Yes, it did.
That 1-2 car length advantage he needed for the interloop.
Up through the S's.
Well, I'm not sure we've seen everything Tony Stewart's got out of that 20 car. Wow, he's got a good run there.
Flying up the outside.
My gosh, he's going to clear him.
Like I said.
Just blew right by Harvick.
That was pretty strong. Now Robbie Gordon's going to be looking to get by McMurray because he's got to clear these guys if he thinks he's got a shot at winning this race. But like I said earlier, McMurray's getting into the corners really good. He's very strong in the braking zones.
Now Harvick will try and go to work on Stewart down the front stretch.
When Robbie's right there on back of McMurray as well.
8 laps to go. Harvick stays on the ball. Oh, Michael Waltrip has gone around.
Stewart got in there awfully deep.
Stay under green. Kyle Busch making the track a little bigger, and now the caution flag is out. This will be our 10th caution of the day. See if we can see what happened to Michael.
I don't know if there's contact between he and Boyer or not.
On board the 55.
Ouch.
That hurt just to watch. Well, we're going to get another one of those restarts. Only this time, Tony Stewart is the race leader.
Sunny SoCal, the mecca of American volleyball. Yes, it's Manhattan Beach. We're getting ready for our men's championship final. The 2 best teams on the beach. The Creature is here. His partner is the Professor. They'll be taking on Steinomite and the Singing Lambo. The ABP on NBC is coming up shortly. Now let's return to our NASCAR coverage at Watkins Glen.
'26 career wins for Tony Stewart, including 2 in a row here at the Glen. Trying to join Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon with 3 consecutive wins at this track. Tony currently 6th in the championship standings. He's got Kevin Harvick on his bumper. We get an update from Marty.
And Bill Harvick sits in second. He's been road racing since he was 5 years old when he road raced go-karts at the time. But that move Tony Stewart made on him was awfully impressive.
Every time I go in the corner, they just go to the floor. So, see what I can do, boys. But we'll give her hell. If I can get past, if we can go past 2 laps, I think I can pass it back. But just those first couple laps. Won't turn and won't stop.
Yeah, but you're getting up off the corner a lot better. You know, that's where you got it at braking. I mean, you're doing good, man. Now we just think about the big picture here. We're going to be fine. Still winning.
What Harvick said at the beginning of that was, there's no way I can drive into the corner as deep as that 20 car can. Won't turn, won't stop. That doesn't sound like a good combination to me, Alan.
No, and definitely not on a road course, Marty. Let's talk Tony Stewart and championship. He's had his troubles over the last couple of months that dropped him down now to where he is 9th in the standings coming into this race. I talked with Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief, this morning about if he's had any team meetings or talked with Tony or his team about where they stand in points. Zippy told me there has been no point discussion at his race team shop. He doesn't want to put the pressure of the race to the chase on his team. He wants Tony and the crew members to just concentrate on doing their jobs, and they'll worry about the points later. Matt?
Maybe some concern down in the 12 pit. Ryan Newman, right as the caution came out, says he's having some kind of issue with the transmission. Now just trying to hold on, see what he can get here with, what, about 6 laps to go, Wally?
Yep. 6 laps to go when they come back by the start-finish line.
Tony Stewart has won 3 of the last 4 races at Watkins Glen. Has finished 11th or better in 6 of his 7 races here. When you think about him winning the championship last year, performing well in the chase, had that great run in the summer months, came here to continue his winning ways, then raced on to his 2nd Nextel Cup championship. And you heard Richard Childress talking to Kevin Harvick, and you could hear in his voice, just stay calm. Yeah. We might be able to win the race, but we're going to be able to get some points, and that's going to be a good day for us. Stewart, Harvick, McMurray, Gordon, Ryan Newman, top 5. Boris Said in the 60 car, currently running 6th. And he has earned our Ford Bold Move of the Race Award.
We're on board with Boris. He goes down the inner loop, gets tagged by the 90 car, but he doesn't get stuck. He doesn't get stuck. Listen. He somehow drove that baby out of there.
He didn't waste any time, and he wasn't giving up either, was he? Our Ford Bold Move of the race to the leader of the set heads, Boris Said. And I'll bet Matt's got more on this.
Well, they've got 400 fans here that seem to follow Boris around wherever he races. This team really hunkered down, Bill. They last pitted on lap 50, and they just worked the cautions. Boris worked traffic masterfully, working his way right now on a nice top 10 finish. Boris told me next year they have big plans for this team. Right now, just trying to end what could be their final race of 2006 on a very positive note. And also, what about the 41 at Reed Source? And they last pitted around lap 44, playing the cautions as well. Very solid run for somebody who went off course this weekend and just trying to build more confidence here on the road courses.
Boris Said is a cult figure when it comes to NASCAR Nextel Cup racing.
Who said Boris said? Who said Boris said?
I think it's awesome when they get into it. They love racing. I love racing, so got a lot in common.
The hair is a technique that I picked up in the Far East, and it's actually been modified by Boris, but you know, I'll let him get away with it.
You get to wear the hair. A lot of cream rinse and the long comb. Try to get her tamed down for the race.
He's the guy to beat. Got to beat today.
Because I still feel more like a race fan than a racer. So to have fans is kind of different. But if I wasn't racing, I'd be doing the same thing they are.
I tell you what, the way my hair's falling out, I might be a candidate for one of those wigs.
We'll try and hook you up with Boris. He runs 6th. Tony Stewart's the race leader. More from Alan.
Yeah, what goes through your mind when you're leading the race and you're riding around here on these long caution laps? Well, a lot of different things. Tony just jumped on the radio a minute ago and said, I'm good on fuel, right? Greg Zipadelli hesitated for a minute, looked at his car chief, said, what did he ask? Was told what the question was, and then came back and said, oh, yeah, don't even worry about that, Tony.
Just trying to think of things to keep him occupied.
Worry about everything when you're leading. You got 5 laps to go when you take the green. He's really worried about the guys in his mirror.
Harvick and McMurray. Watch the 7 car of Robbie Gordon. And once again, we will remind you that NASCAR has told the drivers stay bunched up on the restarts. Lights are out on the pace car. They're coming to the green flag. Be 5 laps to go here at the Glen when they get the green flag.
We heard Kevin Harvick say that his car doesn't want to stop
or turn,
but brakes, I guess, his biggest concern. Yeah.
Boy, he's bringing them down pretty slow right there.
Green, green, green.
Oh, here comes Robbie, but McMurray puts the block on. Oh, there's contact between Borset and Carl Edwards.
Up the short backstretch to the inner loop. McMurray out of line trying to get a position. Falls back in behind Harvick.
Boy, Robbie's taking a look, man. He's right there. If McMurray just bobbles one more time like that, Robbie Gordon will make the move.
Alan, how about the 7?
Well, remember I said he had some sort of unspecified big problem before that the cautions helped out. Apparently the brakes had gotten hot on that 7 car. The cautions have allowed Robbie to cool the brakes. He feels like he's got enough pedal now to go after these guys in front of him and try and do something in these final laps.
Robbie Gordon uses brakes?
Yeah, I think so, like everybody else here.
Oh, he gets a little bit sideways right there. So does McMurray, though. He lost a little bit of ground on McMurray. Uh-oh, Kyle Petty around.
And he was running in about 14th position. Had a great run going.
Kyle back underway. Here comes Robbie again, right?
Yeah, Robbie just got a little bit too sideways getting off of 7. Lost a lot of ground on McMurray. So now he's got to gather it all back up and try to get close enough. And he is driving the wheels off that thing right now, but he can't get the car really bad out of shape, or McMurray's just going to keep driving away. He's got Ryan Newman behind him.
Newman coming back after missing his pit stall early in the race. Now runs 5th.
Oh, look at Kevin Harvick on the inside of Stewart down the straightaway. Let's see.
For the lead with 3 to go.
That's a big move.
Very impressive. Now, Tony wants to make this crossover. Couldn't make it work.
Got McMurray right behind him.
He's just going to pull the same move he pulled a moment ago down the back chute.
Gonna be tough to do it a second time.
Yeah, I don't think he had a run. He had a run on Harvick that one time coming up through the S's. Not quite the run this time. These guys are using more dirt and rocks too now.
Robbie trying to stay hooked up to those front 3. McMurray losing a little bit of ground there.
Also the 12th car, Ryan Newman, losing contact with Robbie Gordon.
Problems for the 12, Matt.
Bill losing ground to Robbie Gordon due to the fact that they believe the motor mount is broken. He says the engine, the throttle hung wide open last time by. So now he's just trying to nurse this 12 car home and fend off the 60 of Borset, who's trying to close in.
2 laps to go.
Excellent. You're pulling out the corners. Good job.
Harvick heard his car owner Richard Childress tell him, you can still win this thing.
Really good, looking pretty strong through the S's there that time for Harvick. And that's what he's got to do. He's got to come off those S's really good. You can't give Stewart an opportunity to get close enough to pull underneath him and outbrake him.
Got through the bus stop, Marty.
Yeah, Bill, also in that conversation, Kevin Harvick was told by Richard Childress, you're better from the middle of the corner off than the 20 car, and that's what he used in that last corner on the front stretch here to pass the 20 car. He also told him, remember, we're big picture racing. You don't think Kevin Harvick would be conservative, though, do you? He's going for the win the whole time.
You'd love to get back to victory lane. One earlier this year at Phoenix. White flag this time. Final lap at the Glen.
One more time.
And all Todd Berry crew chief can think about is gasoline.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack of gasoline, yes. How much did we lose? Had a lot of caution flags. I can't see it being a problem, but there's no way of knowing.
Yeah, I think Marty said they thought they were okay with all the cautions, but I'm sure they're still thinking about it.
One more time through the inner loop. And no pressure from behind right now.
Oh, I saw it coming. Borisset and Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman was blocking the heck out of Borisset, and I think they're both. Somebody spun out in the inner loop right now.
Oh, man. Kurt Busch. He spun back there. Kevin Harvick coming off the final turn. He can see the checkered flag. Kevin Harvick wins at the Glen. His first road course victory. His previous best here was a 5th in 2003. His 5th consecutive top 5 finish. 7th of his career and his 2nd win of the 2006 season. Impressive drive today for Kevin Harvick. Chevrolet congratulates Kevin Harvick and the 29 Monte Carlo SS on another great team Chevy victory. 25 of the last 34 NASCAR Manufacturers Championships and counting. Chevy, an American revolution. Away from Robbie Gordon, Scott Pruitt. Kevin Harvick celebrates, and so does his crew. Marty.
All smiles down here in the 29 pit, and these guys keep meticulous notes. At one point, Todd Berry wrote down, "I'm about to throw up." You handled it okay, though. Congratulations.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Scott Miller and Jazzy up there on the 31. You know, I was like, cross your fingers, man. You know, if we can get 395 and we didn't spill more. If we didn't spill more than 3 gallons, then we're good to go to the end. So we were sweating it a little bit, but I mean, obviously we got there. We couldn't do anything about it. We couldn't stop. So good Lord was looking after us.
How much were you worried about the fuel? And when the 20 passed you, did you think it was over?
I didn't think it was over because I knew our car was pretty good on long haul, but we weren't as good in the braking zones. But we just had a new engine package we brought here for the first time. Made a lot more torque, and we passed the man off the corner. So obviously that was a big deal today.
Obviously they did. Middle of the corner off. That's what they told Harvick. You can beat the 20 there, and that's where he passed him.
Started 7th. Now he's headed for victory lane. Now here's what Wally was seeing.
I thought I saw these two guys going after it, and they were going after it. And Newman did spin. Yeah, they did get entangled up.
And Carl Edwards goes down through the sand trap.
And it looked like Kurt Busch got in the back of Jeff Burton. Oh, Casey Cannon's like the last corner, isn't it?
Yep.
That's turn 6. But he kept going. Stayed in it. He lost a lot of spots, though, by the looks of all those cars going by.
2nd week in a row, he's had a tough bad lap. He's also on the last lap.
Yaley around.
Like a flat tire on Yaley's car.
He's in the grass. It can be a lot of fun watching the closing laps at once.
Yeah, it has been this weekend.
The fans that came here this weekend really got their money's worth. Harvick celebrates. When the smoke clears, you see the race winner. Happy Harvick's going to be happy. See the results on the bottom of the screen. Unofficially, Harvick third in the championship standings. Behind Jimmy Johnson,
he
Matt Kenseth.
beat a guy that's been pretty tough around here for the last couple of years.
Speaking of which, Dave Burns.
And Smoke didn't make it 3 in a row today, but gave it a pretty good try. And we thought when you blew by Kevin with just a few to go that was it. What happened?
I think I just overdrove the entries and exits. He was good. I knew my only shot was to get him back there in the back, and he gave me the outside. He didn't want me getting on the inside, and I got by him on the outside, but hang on.
He's going to go congratulate his friend. And, you know, there's probably someone in victory lane that can continue the interview.
Race hard, clean.
Yeah. A lot of respect between those guys.
Kevin Harvick into victory lane. I wonder if Tony's going to go back to Dave.
I would. I'd be tired.
Dave, you were saying.
And so as we were saying, you just wanted to give him a little high five there?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good friend of mine. It's fun racing with guys you trust like that. So that was a lot of fun. We just, you know, overdrove it a little bit there and slipped the tires here in 7 and opened up the door. So he did an awesome job. I mean, he hit his marks every lap, and that was our only shot to get by him is when we went by him the first time.
Big picture-wise, this is okay for you guys.
Yeah, acceptable day for sure. So we're leaving here with our heads up high and a smile on our face.
All right, they wanted to win today. Tony taking a little blame there. Also, crew chief Greg Zipadelli said we could have given you a better car. They came home second today. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Marty.
Well, Jamie McMurray finishes third today, and that was impressive. Do you think he had anything to get around the 20 and the 29?
Well, I thought I could get by Kevin. You know, I felt like I was catching him before we made our pit stop, and when we restarted, his car was just so quick. My only shot was to pass him in the inner loop. Huge power today with the Roush Yates engines. Up through the S's, it was just incredible the runs I could get on people, and it made it so I could pass through the inner loop.
After the struggle they've had, third place here at Watkins Glen, Bill.
McMurray third, Tony Stewart second, Kevin Harvick the race winner. He's in victory lane, and here's Alan Bestwick.
A celebration that speaks for itself as to what it means to this team to be in victory lane again this year. Kevin, I want to take you in steps through the late stages of that race. 9 to go. Tony Stewart goes by you. What are you thinking?
I was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to drive into the corner that far and pass him back? But you know, it seemed like his brakes were fading. But got to say hi to my wife. She stays home on the road courses. So love you, Delana. Sorry you won't hear. We'll be home late. So this GM Goodwin Chevrolet was a lot of fun to drive today. It was really good. Got the fenders caved in early and just never gave up. So it's a lot of fun racing with Tony there. And I don't know how he passed me in the chicane steel, but my car was really good getting into one and we were able to get back by.
I was going to say, how did you pass him back?
I knew my only shot was getting into one. He had to back up. It seemed like his car didn't have enough brakes getting in there, and it was tight getting to the center. And I knew I was only going to have a couple chances, so it took my chance, and off it went, and it stuck, and we went by. So just want to thank everybody on this car. Snap-on, Reese's, SKF, Emerson, Sherwin-Williams, Team Realtree, GM Card, Sylvania, and my teammates.
Like Boyer there?
Yeah, my teammates and Richard for sticking with us and giving us everything we need to make these teams better. So this means a lot, road course win. This has a lot to do with the driver, the team, and they gave me the opportunity and the track position to do so. So thank Todd and all the guys. It was a lot of fun.
We were knowing here on pit road that there were some fuel concerns, that the overflow vent had stuck on your car and you were losing some fuel in that last run. How much were they telling you about that?
Well, they didn't tell me, but I saw it on TV on the big screen there. And I said, well, how much did it lose just being able to see it on TV? But, you know, at that point, you pretty much got what you got. There's no reason to worry about it. You just do what you got to do and go as hard as you can.
Want to clue us in on what you and Tony were talking about there?
Oh, we were just, Tony and I are, you know, really good friends, and to be able to race each other there at the end is a lot of fun. So we both have big pictures, but we both want to win the race and do everything we can to do that. So it was a lot of fun racing with your buddy.
Last question, big picture, you are up to third in the championship now, a thought?
I mean, I think we can win it. You know, once we get to 10 to go, this team has been really consistent, and as long as we don't have bad luck or do something that we hadn't been doing, we should at least have a chance.
He says he'll be home late tonight. Kevin Harvick, the winner at Watkins Glen. Dave?
Alan, these road courses are where Robbie Gordon can shine. You talked today about being down on horsepower, down on brakes. How disappointed are you with fourth?
Well, one leads to the other, but you know, a good run for all the guys at Jim Beam. DEI's guys have been doing us a good job. I know they went a little bit conservative with our motor because they thought that if they gave me something that ran all day, we'd be able to win the deal, and it just wasn't the case. We just got yarded on the straightaways. You know, they've given us good engines all year. Good run for all the boys on Jim Beam crew, and Jim Beam, Harrah's, Menards, all of our sponsors. It was a good run for us, so it'll definitely help us in the points.
Talk us through the last restart, Robbie.
Last restart, you know, just couldn't get close enough to outbreak them. To be honest with you, you know, I had a little bit of an opportunity there. Tried him on the outside and just didn't have anything for him.
All right, Robbie Gordon finishes fourth today. It is the 6th time that he has finished fourth or better here at the Glen. Bill?
Thanks. And among the other stories we tried to follow up down below, we offered an invitation to Kurt Busch to talk about his day. He politely declined that invitation. Disappointing day for Kurt. Here are the championship standings. Just 4 races remain before the cutoff, and the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship begins. Tony Stewart moves up. Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 10th. And you look at the rest of them. And just to clarify a point, we attempted to get Kurt Busch. We were unable to get to him for a post-race interview. Don't forget, next weekend, NASCAR heads to Michigan on TNT. Saturday at 2 Eastern, it's final Cup practice, then Busch Series racing. And on Sunday, the race for the chase continues at 2 p.m. Eastern. Next up on NBC, it's the men's final at the AVP Manhattan Beach Open. And don't forget, Sunday Night Football tonight with John Madden and Al Michaels from Cincinnati. For our entire race family, I'm Bill Weber. Thanks for joining us here at the Glen. Kevin Harvick is the race winner. Now, let's join Chris Marlowe.
We welcome you to sunny Southern California. The AVP